on this mic.
A very good morning to all dignitaries, delegates, invitees, speakers, and participants who have joined us from across the country. Vidyasagar College for Women extends a cordial welcome to all of you to the two-day national level conference on new NAAC guidelines for AQAR, IIQA, SSR, and Quality Enhancement in higher organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Vidyasagar College for Women in collaboration with NAAC. Since its inception, Vidyasagar College for Women, a premier educational institution affiliated to the University of Calcutta, has been dedicatedly educating women in the field of arts and sciences and empowering women from different strata of the society, aiming at their holistic development. This college adheres to the ideals and principles of our founding father, Pandit Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, as it consistently strives to effectuate its vision of empowerment through education. Playing the host for today's seminar is truly gratifying to Vidyasagar College for Women, and we truly hope that all of you will benefit from this seminar, as many of the higher educational institutions across the country will eventually proceed with the assessment and re-accreditation process. With this, we will proceed towards the commencement of the seminar with our inaugural session. For this, I would like to request our Principal Madam, Dr. Rupali Chaudhary, and our IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Tapan Rai, to kindly inaugurate this seminar by traditional lighting of the lamp and garlanding the portrait of Pandit Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. I would now request one of our students to kindly welcome our principal madam with a bouquet of flowers. Another student would please like to receive Dr. Tapun Rai, our IQAC coordinator, with a bouquet. Thank you, dear students. Now I would request our principal madam to kindly say a few words.
I wish everybody, both present online and offline, a very good morning. On behalf of our college, I extend a very warm welcome to all the distinguished panelists and participants of this two-day national level conference, being held jointly by the IQAC of Vidyasagar College for Women in collaboration with the National Assessment and Accreditation Council. The theme of the conference is new NAAC guidelines for AQAR, IIQA, SSR, and Quality Enhancement in higher education. The Council has not only approved of this conference, but has also condescended to partly sponsor it with funding. I convey my heartfelt gratitude to the NAAC for the same. At the very outset, I thank our President Governing Body, Sri Vivek Gupta, Honorable MLA of West Bengal, for joining and gracing the conference despite his extremely heavy work schedule. I thank the distinguished panelists, all erudite scholars and extremely conversant with the new NAAC format designed in compliance with the ADP 2020. The panelists of this two-day conference are Dr. Ambarish Mahajan, Director IQAC, Central University of Himachal Pradesh, Dean of Students' Welfare and Dean of School of Earth and Environmental Sciences. Welcome, sir, to our platform. Then we have Dr. Joseph A. Durairaj, Professor of English, Gandhigram Rural Institute, Tamil Nadu. Welcome, sir, to our platform. We have Dr. Siddharth Shah, former Director, IQAC, Professor and Head of Commerce, Calcutta University. Welcome, sir. Then we have Dr. Shubhasri Mukherjee, Professor of English, Kamala Nehru Mahavidyalaya, Nagpur. She has been specially appointed as a resource person from NAAC. Welcome, ma'am, to our platform. We have Dr. Indrani Chaudhary Dutt, IQAC Coordinator and Associate Professor of English, Lady Brabham College, Kolkata. Welcome, ma'am. Finally, we have Dr. Shamraj Bhattacharjee, IQAC Coordinator and Associate Professor of Zoology, Scottish Church College, and Dr. Vardi Roy, Member of IQAC, Core Committee and Associate Professor of Philosophy, Scottish Church College, Kolkata. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We are really gratified that you have so willingly join this platform. Vidyasagar College for Women is a well-known women's college of Kolkata. It has always aimed for excellence not only in the field of academics, but also in the cultural domain, sports, and other extracurricular activities. The institution is focused on the global development of the girl students in keeping with the ideologies of the founder, Pandit Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. He who struggled tirelessly to spread education among women and help them be assertive about their own rights and thus made their mark in society. The NAAC, under the aegis of UGC, has designed the new assessment pattern for evaluation of the higher education institutions. Though the evaluation is going to be based on the 7 criteria, the 7 pillars on which the assessment rests, but much remains to be known about the new assessment pattern. So the college chose to take reports to a national seminar where the eminent panelists today and tomorrow will enlighten and share with us in depth their knowledge, experience, and expertise. The theme and the sub-themes of the seminar have been chosen accordingly. The college is extremely honored by the presence of our speakers. In our main objective, in addition to our main objective, we have a good number of paper presenters too. I welcome heartily all of them. Thank you for your participation. Lastly, and equally importantly, I must mention that our team of conference committee members under the able captaincy of convener of this national conference, Dr. Pradipta Mukherjee, has done an almost immaculate job starting from planning, organizing, executing every aspect of the conference. Loopholes or shortcomings, if any, are sincerely regretted. Finally, I express my deepest gratitude to NAAC, all the panelists, RGB President, and thank each and every participant and stakeholder of this conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. I would now request our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Tapan Rai, to kindly say a few words.
A very good morning. I do hereby accord my warm welcome to all eminent luminaries who have assembled for this conference. I take this opportunity to thank all the members of IQAC and NAAC committee who have worked tirelessly to make this conference a success. I find the moment opportune to thank the chief patron of this conference, Sri Vivek Gupta, President Governing Body, and Dr. Rupali Chaudhary, Principal and Secretary Governing Body, Vidyasagar College for Women, who have been insurmountable pillar of support for this conference. The guideline prescribed by NAAC in 2022 have the ultimate objectives of and sustaining equality of higher educational institution. It has been noticed that majority of today's youth join skill-based training courses or vocational programs that equip them to seamless progress towards their profession within a short span of time. Such young an enthusiastic individual scarcely pursue higher education or choose an academic career for themselves. The AQAs have failed to attract such young minds, primarily due to obdurate categorization in academic framework, completely lacking in flexibility. The UGC had to focus on bringing back young mind within the paradigm of academics and ensuring equality education for all without discrimination. A mechanism flexible and dynamic enough to subdue both advanced and slow learners. Therefore, NAAC deliberated upon and eventually promulgated a series of parameters that hinge on empirical data immaculately preserved for 5 years. This should be an ongoing and elaborated process with no scope on evasion. Equality and excellence need to be assessed and scored accordingly to enable all HEIs in the country to compete on a level platform and to make the mechanism of assessment and evaluation robust and transparent. The UGC has laid down certain parameters requiring geo-tagged photos, web link, video recording, and data corroborated by signature of students. The newly proposed framework has an expansive paradigm that works on planning, implementation, collation, and archiving. The revised framework of AQAR and SSR lay immense stress on record keeping, collection of data, and innovativeness in all aspects of teaching, learning, and administration. An equal platform offered by all HEI manages to eradicate any differentiation between HEI, thereby widening the scope for both advanced and slow learners to pursue higher education, which work on two primary principles of inclusivity and equality. With this, I wish this national level conference an astounding success. Hope it initiates newer perspectives on higher education and revised framework prescribed by NAAC. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts. We shall now begin the first plenary session for today with a keynote address by Dr. Amrish Kumar Mahajan. And therefore, I request Dr. Pradita Mukherjee, NAAC coordinator of Vidyasagar College for Women and convener of this conference, to kindly introduce Dr. Amrish Kumar Mahajan, sir.
Good morning, one and all. Before I introduce our honorable keynote speaker, Dr. Amrish Kumar Mahajan, as convener of this national level conference in collaboration with NAAC, that is the National Assessment and Accreditation Council, Bangalore, on behalf of Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Vidyasagar College for Women, I once again extend a very warm and hearty welcome to all dignitaries, guests, delegates, colleagues, and friends who have joined us offline as well as online on our virtual platform and at the auditorium here today. We are thrilled and overwhelmed by the kind of response we have received for this conference on new NAAC guidelines for AQAR, IIQA, SSR, and Quality Enhancement in Higher Education. It is indeed a pleasure to welcome resource persons and dignitaries from across the country. And of course, participants and paper presenters from Kolkata, neighboring colleges, and from colleges outside Kolkata district. It is a moment of great pride and honor that Vidyasagar College for Women has been able to organize this two-day national level conference on a blended mode in collaboration with NAAC. We are happy to recollect our fond memories of the state level conference we organized just a month ago in collaboration with NAAC on choice-based credit system on the 12th of August this year. After several months of painstaking effort, internal quality assurance cell and NAAC team of Vidyasagar College for Women have been able to curate a second conference, and this time a national conference. We remain indebted to NAAC, particularly NAAC Office Bangalore, Dr. Amyo Kumar Roth, Regional Coordinator, Eastern Region, and Dr. Ruchi Tripathi for their constant support and solidarity for the event. With the wholehearted support and cooperation of our governing body president, Sri Vivek Gupta, our chief patron of this conference, and in presence of our other two patrons, that is our principal madam, Dr. Rupali Chaudhary, and our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Tobun Roy. Now, on behalf of Vidyasagar College for Women, I have the honor and privilege to welcome our distinguished keynote speaker, Dr. Amrish Kumar Mahajan from Central University of Himachal Pradesh, Dharamshala, a city well known for its scenic landscape and snow-capped peaks. Dr. Amrish Kumar Mahajan was a scientist at Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology and currently professor and dean at Central University of Himachal Pradesh, Dharamshala. He is recipient of National Geoscience Awards 2017 individual category. The award was conferred by the President of India in recognition to development of methodology on seismic microzonation. Dr. Mahajan was member coordinator NAAC for visit to Government SK College, Mobilization, Madhya Pradesh in 2019, member NAAC committee to Delhi University in October 2018, to Pariyar Maniappa Institute of Science and Technology, University, Chennai in 2015, to V. Surendra Sai University of Technology, formerly University College of Engineering, Orissa in 2016, to name just a few. Dr. Mahajan has completed 3 international projects associated with UNO, Government of Netherlands, and Government of Norway. Research papers in refereed journals happen to be more than 70. Given his administrative and academic credentials, I could have continued to speak, but I decided to hand over the session to Dr. Amrish Mahajan, our eminent keynote speaker for this national level conference in collaboration with NAAC. Without any further delay, thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. Over to you, Professor Amrish Kumar Mahajan, for your keynote lecture. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Pratibda Mukherjee. I really welcome all the dignitaries present over there, whom I may not be able to name all them, and the NAAC members from the different organizations and Bangalore city. Dr. Pradipta Mukherjee had contacted me long back, about 2 months back, that we are going to organize this workshop, and if you can present something. So I readily agreed, although I was busy with our SSR preparation at the Central University, Himachal Pradesh. I think, are you hearing me? Na? Can you hear me, Pradipta? Hello?
Yes, sir. Clearly, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. So since I didn't get the response, I thought it's not clearly audible.
So today I will be only speaking on the aspect of which has been mentioned, that how to prepare an IQAR, IIQA and SSR and NAAC accreditation and submit the data. See, yes, please.
It's coming. Sir,
Audible? Okay. It is already mentioned by William Foster that quality is never an accident. Actually, whatever when we are going to use the fill up the NAAC data, we go on starting our own database. But that is not the true. We have to make it in a consistent efforts where quality is never an accident. It has to be a result of high intention, sincere effort and intelligent directions, and skillful execution, which represent the wise choice of many alternatives. So we have to work in that sense. Only then we will be able to fill up the maximum criteria and maximum quality we can ensure in our system. As the National Accreditation Committee already mentioned that what is quality means quest for excellence, understanding the concept, A for action-oriented, learning-centering approach, innovation for changes, training to build competencies, and year-round activity. Now, in each organization, after the first cycle, every institution has to have an IQAC cell and its defined role. Now, IQAC has to be established by the accredited institution to push up long-term quality standards. It is a significant administrative body in an institution and responsible for all quality matters. The prime responsibility of the IQAC is to initiate, plan, and supervise the various activities that are necessary to increase the quality of education imparted in the institution or college. So IQAC cell has a bigger role to play, and the director IQAC has to move on within all the department, and I think taken seminars with all the departments or meeting so that this message can be conveyed to them about how to improve the quality of each and every department in the data. Now, what is the functions, development and adaptation of quality benchmarks, parameters, so that various academic and administrative activities in the institution can be carried out? Because when we look into the IQAC, normally people say look into that only academics has to be improved. No, it has to be administration and financial aspect has also to be improved in the same sense as we are looking at the academics. Now, facilitating the creation of learner-centering environment conducive to quality education, faculty maturations, as previous one of the NAAC coordinator has mentioned, that we have to look into the different aspects of slow learner, advanced learners, and we have to look into the signatures of the authorities. You see, these are the normal process, I think, in any institution when we are making it in a standard universities or standard colleges. Each college has to follow all such requirement, because in the universities, by this NAAC is actually needed to be carried out, by these accreditations are needed to be carried out. In a scientific institution, if you go, all these things are documentation, all these processes are normal. But in educational institutions, people used to do work, but the documentation is very poor. And due to that, they are unable to produce the things which are required for assessing the quality of any institution. So dissemination of information on very quality parameter higher education is a very important aspect. And then organization of intra-institutional quality institution workshop, which need to be carried out, hold on within the institution and within the different departments itself. Now, coming to the quality and preparation of IQAR, first is we have to understand what is the CJP and letter grade and status, how the things are getting accredited and how much marks needs to be required. But before we go this, how much marks we need to understand different criteria which are being used for the evaluation purpose. Now, each criteria is different for universities, autonomous colleges, and affiliated colleges. I understand your college is an affiliated college where you have a much higher marks for the teaching and learning and evaluation process, that is 350 marks. Then you have a very less marks for the research innovation and extension, that is 120 as compared to the universities where it has to be 250. Similarly, student progression and sport is you need to be higher, because normally at a graduate level, sports and progression has to be there. So these are the important aspects which need to be considered, because unless we should understand these detailed metrics of the marks, and in each criteria, how many marks are for each key component. And that is more important, how many marks are there in each component. And there are 7 criteria, then there are 34 key indicators, 38 quality metrics, 799 quantitative metrics, and total metrics 137 for the universities. Where the affiliated college criteria are 7, key indicators are 32, qualitative metrics are 42, quantitative metrics are 79, and total metrics are 121. When we look at the data, we look at only the top process, and we don't go into the individual. I will share one of the slide indicators, and I'll come there with the database itself. You look at the first criteria where the curriculum development is there. Percentage of program where syllabus revision was carried out during the last 5 years. This is the 20 marks. Now, every institution, I think syllabus revision is carried out within a 5 year. And there should be a 20% revision. And we have to ensure that this 20% revision should be reflected. You know that today, 70% of the assessment is on your data. So if your database is correct, only then you will get the 20% marks. Otherwise, there will be a DVV, deviation validation. When they validate the data, there you will be getting it. So how to get this? So syllabus revision has to be done in your documents and then in originally the syllabus. Only then it can be reflected in the records. If it is not done, you cannot cook the data. So you have to make it sure that this syllabus revision was carried out by your department regularly as and when required, because the changing environment is a demand for the syllabus revision. Second is number of program on which choice-based credit system is introduced. Now, I have seen in some of the institutions, they mentioned that choice-based, we have implemented choice-based. They reflect that we have given some courses, but see, choice-based means you should have a basket which contain maybe 20 courses or 50 courses or 30 courses. And students should have the choice to take some of the courses from that basket. Maybe first year some core compulsories are there, but after that you have done some specializations, some specialization, open specialization. Therein itself, you should have a proper basket. If you don't have the basket of the courses which has to be approved of the board of study, you must have a board of studies and school board which has been passed by the universities. But your department or your institution must prepare those things. Now, filling of these data is important aspect. I'll tell you the program code. You can see the program code. Most of the people are getting confused with the program code and the course code. Program is the study, suppose MSc Environment Science. So MSc Environment Science, program name is Environment Science, MSc Environment Science, and code is E. I said environment, I can say 3 first word I have taken E and V. So that code has to be mentioned. Then year of introduction. So this course program was introduced in your college in which maybe 2010 or something like that. And year of implementation, when it was implemented, status of implementation, and their year of, and then when revision has been carried out, जब आपने revision बताई है in 2020 marks के लिए, when it has been implemented, that has to be, if revision has been carried on during the last 5 years, percentage of the content added to the page. Now you have to mark the revision in your course content within a highlighters, how much percentage of the course has been changed. Only then this can be accepted. Then you have to provide the sufficient support and relevant document in that case. So this is more important, that we should need to understand each and every table first before filling it, and each and every department should be educated on this aspect, that what we need, what is our requirement. Because I think your universities are entering into the next stage of filling an AQAR. As I have learned about, I think 3 AQAR you have submitted, 4th and 5th has to be submitted, because once you fill the 4th, the 5th will automatically popped up. So then you have to fill the 5th one also, but you have the sufficient time to make it this data, and whatever has been done in the last year, that has to be documented and properly prepared. Now, coming back to this, now these are the curriculum aspect design should be in tune with the institution goals. आपका जो डिजाइन है curriculum को institutions के गोल है, जो आपकी कॉलेज का गोल होगा, जो मिशन होगा, उसके मुताबिक होना चाहिए. Then you should have an employability and enterprise skill development pursuits in higher knowledge. Overall development of student is a major consideration of the design and development. How much courses are employable? How much courses are skill development? How much courses are entrepreneurship? Those can give directly employment to the market, or those who can start their own program. These has to be reflected, and these need to be highlighted that, okay, this course is a skill development course, and then you have to write on the skill development course itself that what type of skill you are going to give, what type of employment type you are going to give. Suppose I can say a student has been trained in biological aspects. You can say this will be a very good entrepreneurship in agriculture field. He can do the floriculture. He can do, maybe he can start in some of the factory by choosing this course. So like this, you have to make all these courses well defined in your course basket as well as the course content. Now, range of the programs options that are relevant to the local needs. Your institution is located in Calcutta. What are the local needs? How you are catering to the local need? How you are helping the local government? And how you are helping in the national and global needs. Then consultation with the academic expert, industries, and alumni stakeholders within and outside the institutions. Normally, academic experts we used to invite, and industries because industry interaction is very important nowadays. If you do a more industry attraction, definitely you will be having a more employment, because industry demand will tell you which course you should start and which course is much better for the graduation level, which can be helpful for our students. Then institution must deploy and develop action plan for the effective implementation of the curriculum. How you can implement. This is a 20 marks indicators. The teacher receives support for effective translating the curriculum, improving teaching practices. Then institution interact with beneficiaries such as industries, research bodies and universities for effective operationalization of the curriculum. कौन से इंडस्ट्रीज या आपने रिसर्च बॉडी से इफेक्टिवली काम किया है? जैसे आप कहते हैं कि हमने MOU साइन किए हैं. MOUs हम 20 लोगों से साइन कर लेते हैं, but how much MOUs are really effective in nature? How much we have learned? How much we have shared with each other? What is the outcome of the MOUs? That need to be reflected over here somewhere, because ultimately outcome of the MOU is more important. Then mechanism to analyze and ensure that the state objective of the curriculum are achieved in the course of the implementations. Freedom in the use of time frame of the courses, in horizontal mobility and interdisciplinary options. आपके पास, you might have some courses which are interdisciplinary in nature. Some of the departments, suppose I can say machine learning is the course, one of the course. Maybe some of the students are not studying the computer science, but one of the students may be interested in learning the machine learning course. So you can have an interdisciplinary course which can go to that department and learn that course. So this is the actually when we offer a choice-based credit system, in that choice-based system, you should have an interdisciplinary course. You know now the national education policy is also in force everywhere, and from this year, everywhere it is going to be implemented. So you have to look into this also, that Indian knowledge system is also to be incorporated. You have to have such interdisciplinary courses also. You have to skill development courses also. So all these courses has to be inbuilt in your course basket so that student can choose from those baskets easily. And then it is a really choice-based credit system. Options are made available to students for acquiring additional skills which may be directly linked or with one discipline or not. So then institution provide a inter-institution credit transfer. ये अभी नए उसमें आया है कि क्या आप credit transfers का provide करते हैं. Institution integrate the cross-cutting issues such as genders, climate change, environmental education, human rights, human values, professional ethics into the curriculum. This is also indicators which have 30 marks in your, I think, colleges. So this has to be reflected somewhere in the course baskets, how you are being prepared. Then the feedback system, there you should have a structured feedback from students, which should be at the end of the examination. You should collect the feedback, analyze it, make pie diagrams or whatever bar chart or like this. And then those feedbacks should be implemented in terms of action taken reports, where you have to prepare action taken reports also. How you are implemented, you can put forward the feedback of the students in front of the departmental meeting, decide over whatever the student has mentioned they are going to implement or not. Then you have to make it before the board of studies so that it can analyze the necessity and suggestions given by the students or alumni or parents. All these has to be analyzed, analysis to be done, and then action related report should be prepared. What action has been taken, how it has been implemented, how the structured feedback has been implemented in your course in the years to come. Then this is the teaching learning evaluation, which is a higher amount of marks you need, 350, because research is a little bit less load on the institution. Student enrollment and profile. I think this is an important aspect, which is catering to the student, how much diversity you have the students, diversity, teaching learning process mein kya kya, but you are using, how much ICT enabled facilities are being used. Teacher's profile. See, most of the institutions we went over there, they give the teacher profile that they hire temporarily some of the professors from outside and then reflect as adjunct professors, maybe for some time. But when the team goes in person, it is very well reflected and very well, you can recognize everything over there, how much are there, what is the teacher profile. Normally college mein, teacher profile is a major issue and quality of the teacher is major issue. So that has to be ensured that teacher profile and quality has to be good. Only then you can pass the knowledge to the student. Then evaluation process is also how much continuous evaluation you are being carried out, how many assignment, whether you are giving some presentation student, quiz test is being conducted or not. Then midterm evaluation. Then what is the system for external examination? University must be holding your external examination. So all this has to be mentioned clearly, earmarked under the control of examinations. I think you have this. And student performance and learning outcome. What is the student performance and what is the learning outcome? That is, I think, resulted in the form of results and student satisfaction reports or survey which has to be carried out. Now, I'll tell you one thing. When we have to carry out this student progression program, when we prepare this, we have to make it like this. I'll show one of the example of my office. We have to make a program specific outcome, program outcome, course outcome, where we have given the program, this program, but is the main specific outcome of the course. Then we have within the program outcome, and each course content has been given along with the metric course outcomes. And at last, how is it connected to the PSOs and POs? And for each course, this has been given. And you have to make these PSOs and POs for each course. Because course basket is with you. Now you have to make all these things and mapping these metrics. Course metrics has to be there for each course, and how the course is benefited is everything is over given. What is the objectives? What is the prerequisite of the course? And how the evaluation is being done, and what is the content? Yet this type of to be prepared for all the departments. This is very, very important aspect that you should make it on all this. And there also itself, you can add what is the skill, what is the employability course, which are the entrepreneur course. So you will be very clear on this aspect once you prepare all these things, which are being reflected over there. Now, in addition to this admission process of institution, normally nowadays we are looking at the ERP system. Electronic, everything has to be electronics. So whether you have some ERP system or not, MIS system or not, and how is the transparency is being maintained and compiled with the regulatory and governing agencies, whether the institution has periodic reviews of enrollment profiles and outcome is being used for the improvement. Does the institution has an inclusive admission policy catering to the different socioeconomic, geographical, cultural, and educational background? All these indicators has to be there in the reflected, should be reflected in your indicators, data, documents. Now, to satisfy the need of the student from diverse background, including backward community and from different locale, does the institutions assess the learning level of the student, as it is mentioned that slow learner and advanced learner. Now, whenever you start teaching, first year you may not be able to understand the slow learner and advanced learner, but after the first year, you have been able to understand who are the slow learners and who are the fast learners. And does your institution has facility to provide education to slow learner and advanced learner? If so, in which of the timetable it has been adjusted? If so, then you have to show that timetable, because timetable and that timetable from the, because every year you release the timetable, and each timetable these need to be reflected. It should be there. Then only you can claim that you are working for the slow learner, advanced learner, and specially able students itself. And learning centric education with participating learning, how much experimental learning you are providing to the student, how much examples, how much field surveys are being conducted, how much practical examples are being, lab facilities are being done, how much visits have been done to the educational institution, because ultimately participating learning is very important. Then institution draw latest development, available technology support to LMS, e-resources available, and to meaningful incorporate them in one of the scheme of teaching learning. Then the learning environment has to be conducive for critical thinking, creativity, and scientific tempers. As you have seen during the COVID time, it was difficult for the teacher to communicate with the student and teach the student. So does you have those facilities, ICT facilities, so that you can communicate to the students? All those ICT facilities or digital sources has to be earmarked in your report. And teaching positions are filled with reasonable time. That has to be strictly adhering with the UGC norms or your state government norms, whatever it is. To have the institution as adequate and well qualified faculty, which is also normally in most of the college, this is the major issues that teacher filling positions are not filled in a regional time, and qualified teacher, non-availability of teachers is a major issue. Then professional development and teaching ability of the faculty. Do you send some your teachers for their professional development or not? Do you send your teachers for the different for attending different seminars or not? because that adds to the knowledge of the teachers. If you don't do that, definitely teachers' knowledge cannot be enhanced. It means the teacher which we have recruited at the initial stage, his knowledge has not been gained because ultimately he has not attended any professional course, he has not attended any seminars, because attending a seminar and workshop not only increase the teacher's capability in teaching, but also increase the teacher capability in research. Because when he goes to the seminars, he has no doubt, he has a lot of understanding with each other, met different people, but at the same time, he increased its efficiency in different research activities. He can learn what are the different such activities are going on, what are the instruments required, and why not I can start this type of activity in my college or university. So such type of, I think, encouragement is very important for the teachers to engage them and send them, I say, to different seminars and workshops around the country so that they can learn and get the development, their professional development, and pass on that the same to the students in general. Then evaluation process, of course, you have the must have the transparency and security, and that has to be reflected in the examination tests, the program specific outcome and the course outcome, because course outcome is being reflected in terms of examination, where you have student results are mentioned. So that definitely gives you the indicators how much is the course is effective and how much has been getting an employment or in a higher education. Then you have to encourage all departments to clearly state the learning out of the programs, as I mentioned earlier. The achievement of internal learning program is centering to the pedagogy and assessment process, falls in achievements of learning outcomes and suggestive measure for improvements. So then we have the student feedbacks, significantly showcase the actual quality of the teaching learning process, satisfaction report. Learning can be meaningful and impactful only to the extent students perceive it to might be meaningful, and student satisfaction is a direct indicator of the effectiveness of teaching learning in the institution, because when student gives the feedback and satisfactions, it makes an impact of teaching learning in the institution. Then I'll take third one also, research and innovation. Now, in research, it is important how much publication we have produced, because our activities is being reflected in terms of research publications. How much sponsors and extra full funding we have been able to get it from different organizations outside our college. And do we promote our students, our teachers for extramural funding? Do we have some innovation ecosystem? Do we have some awards for the teachers who've done better in publications? Do we have some extension activity? Do we have some adopted some villages in around our colleges where we can impart the education, scientific education, social education, awareness programs, and how much collaboration we have done? These all are having, because promotion of research and facilities affiliated to college doesn't have much marks, but research mobilization for resource mobilization for research, innovation activities, because colleges have more innovation activities than publications and award. Each college should provide an award to their teachers if they have published in a better journals, or if they are doing good. Then extension, because social science departments, they can do a lot of activities. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan hai, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan hai, Polio Abhiyan hai. Then a lot of other activities, local villages ki koi promotional, their product need to be promoted. Like that, number of such extension activities can be carried out. Then we have to reflect the research facilities, how much labs you have, how much journals you have, how much seed money you are providing to the teachers and how you encourage and promote research cultures. As I mentioned, if you start encouraging sending the teachers outside, you will be encouraging and promoting the research outside. How many faculties are given due recognition and incentive for guiding the research? Because if you give the due incentive and recognition for your faculty, definitely they will be encouraged and they will have a high. Then comes the impact factor. H index is very common nowadays, and normally publications of Scopus are being, or Web of Science are being reflected by the NAAC. So your publication has to be in Scopus or index journals. And another is there is a Vidwan. One is a Ministry of Education has launched on a website, Vidwan. You can encourage your student to enroll over there, register over there, so that their publication should be reflected in that. Then faculty need to be encouraged to undertake interdepartment interdisciplinary research by collaborating with each other or research or industries outside. Institution should take special effort to encourage the faculty to submit projects on various government and for funding. Incentives to be given for faculty for receiving state or national awards. Significant number of such articles to be published, and institutions have published books and proceedings based on because books, chapters is also being recognized by this. Then innovations, because normally colleges have innovation, how much IPR or patent have been done, because number of the college, BSc level college or technical educations, they have been going for a patent. So this should be reflected very well. Then publication and awards, which has been mentioned. Then how much institution publicize the expertise available for consultancy. This is not with your this thing, because consultancy is not required by the affiliated college. And extension activities, which I have mentioned, that it should be in the terms of education, which emphasize community services, extension interface as an educator values, and especially in rural areas, and niche-based extension like by the NCC or NSS, like Red Cross Society or blood donation camps and all these things, so that children should learn. Then the collaborations, how much collaboration you do, how much MOUs, and how much MOUs are functional in nature. That is more important. If they are not functional in nature, that doesn't have any meaning. So those MOUs, and that should be reflected in terms of some activity between the institution where the MOUs has been carried out. So this should also be reflected in your documents. And I'll not continue with this because otherwise it may take a longer time. But I can understand that infrastructures and administration, 4th, 5th, 6th criteria and student progressions we have been dealing with, which people are being taken care of. And their student progression, you have to mention how much students are going for a higher studies, how much have been implied. So this need to be reflected properly, and you should have a complete list of name with the name of the students, list, name of the student, roll number of the student, and year of the student which has gone for a higher progressions and gone for some selected for the JRF or like this, because from your organizations people are getting scholarships also, so that should be reflected over there. So this is what I wanted to convey to all of you, that once you start preparing the AQR, please prepare the AQR in your desktop first. Don't go direct to the NAAC website. Take the data tables, because as you have mentioned in 2022 it has been revised. Take all the tables which are available on NAAC website, go to NAAC website, apply online, and then you can find all those things for the universities and affiliated colleges. Take those data set, fill those data set, prepare your data first in your computer, and once you are satisfied, complete with the complete proofs, because each proof has to be there. What are you are saying? That has to be perfectly matched with the proof. If proofs are being attached over there in terms of PDF, and as I mentioned, skill, employability course and all these things, this should be highlighted so that it can be, when it's a validation process is being going on, it should be properly checked. And once you fill up AQR, after filling of AQR, this portal will be opened for your IIQA and SSR submission. Now, people are immediately fills the IIQA, and after the IIQA you have only 45 days. So it is my humble request, and it's a common suggestion to all: don't fill the IIQA once your SSR is ready in all respect, because IIQA will be evaluated within 10 days and you will be able to start the SSR submission, and that has to be filled within 45 days. So first, prepare your data of SSR in your document criteria wise, sub criteria wise. Prepare a criteria 1, make criteria 1 under all folders or under criteria 1, then criteria 2, all folders under criteria 2, each sub criteria, sub indicator, then under each sub criteria their proofs should be there, so that when you fill the SSR, you will be able to just copy and paste and transfer those data. And similar data should be available in your university web page or college web page, so that can be compared and easily accessible by the NAAC coordinator. That is all which I wanted to convey today within a short span of time. Thank you. Hello, Pradipta. I think everybody gone. Pradipta.
Sir, can you see me? I'm there. I was listening to you very attentively.
Okay, now I'm finished with this. Now you can go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, I just have one clarification from you. I don't know when we will again be interacting, but since you are here on our virtual platform, thank you so much for this very, very informative lecture. We have actually, learned a lot. I mean, you have discussed many important points. And you also talked in detail about criterion 2, criterion 3, and you talked about how we need to be thoroughly prepared for the data validation and verification process. I just have one clarification from you, sir. Our college is an undergraduate college under the University of Calcutta. We have submitted 3 AQARs and we are on the verge of submission of the 4th AQAR. As you mentioned in your talk today, do we have to submit 5 AQARs before we upload the online SSR and submit our IIQA? I mean, do we have to submit 5 AQAs? That is what you were saying again and again. We have submitted 3, we are on the verge of submitting the 4th. But as you mentioned that we have to submit 5, I think.
Yeah, that will be reflected once you fill the 4th one. The 5th one will pop out.
Okay, so the 5th one will pop out, and once we are the 5th one, only then we can go for the SSR. Right?
Then you can go for a SSR, but you make sure that SSR first must be completed in all respect with your computer. Once you are satisfied, then you prepare your IIQA and fill the IIQA. Okay?
Okay.
Don't submit the IIQA in advance.
No, sir.
Because you have 45 days after filling the IIQA.
So, so what do you suggest for us? Like when we are doing the 5th AQAR, we simultaneously do the SSR. I mean,
no. Once you complete the AQR, you can start preparing the SSR at just now, and complete the SSR first in all respect, proof and all these things, as I have mentioned, because all proof has to be there, and then once you are completely satisfied with the SSR data, then you prepare IIQA, and IIQA will give you 45 days after that, and within 45 days you will be able to punish this, because once you fill up the IIQA, NAAC will respond to you within 10 days about the IIQA, whether it is correct or not, and they will permit you to start with the SSR.
Okay, so we do
that. You have only 45 days, and within 45 days you will be fill up, because once you are ready with the SSR, you can just copy, paste and all these things. That's all.
So first we go step by step. We finish 5 AQARs. We do the SSR simultaneously, and once 5 AQAs and SSRs are completely ready, we submit the IIQA. Is
Yeah.
that okay?
Yeah. Okay, there is one question is coming about the library. See, a library important is how many, because library must have LMS system, library management system. You must have the software, whether you are issuing the library books online or offline. That is first. Secondly, the footfalls of the students. Normally, NAAC asks the footfall of the students and footfall of the teachers. So how many teachers and students visit the library? It is important. You must have the record. That is some register, and then scanned copy of the register attendance has to be prepared in a scanned copy and PDF that has to be submitted to see the footfalls which you have mentioned. So e-journals, books, how many books are there? How many old books are there? Because your colleges must be very old, so you have some old books are also that has to be reflected, because that has some important significance. So that these are the important aspect for the library need to be considered, that how much books and how many footfalls are there in the library, and what is the how much resources have been spent, and those resources which you have mentioned, that should be followed by some proof from the finance section that you have received the money. You suppose you say मैंने 50 लाख e-journals के लिए खर्चा है, तो 50 लाख कौन से साल में आपको लाइब्रेरी के लिए दिया गया है, that those proofs should be there, and there should be a bills which has to, because कल को आप कहते हैं मेरे पास 100 कंप्यूटर है, 100 कंप्यूटर के बिल मांगे जाएंगे आपसे, आप ये लिख नहीं सकते 100 कंप्यूटर है, 100 कंप्यूटर के बिल होने चाहिए आपके पास, तभी आप कह सकते हैं कि मेरे पास 100 कंप्यूटर है. ये ध्यान रखिएगा, नैक का प्रोसेस काफी सीरियस है और इसमें कोई भी डॉक्यूमेंट गलत नहीं लगाना, डॉक्यूमेंट वही लगाना जो आपके पास है, नहीं है तो कोई बात नहीं, अगली बार से ही, मगर डॉक्यूमेंट वही लगाना जो है. थैंक यू. और कोई क्वेश्चन है किसी का? ओके.
Sir, may I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Hello. First of all, thank you so much for all these information and clarification. I am Dr. Orunima Biswas. My college is in a remote backward region of Sundarbans. We are in our second cycle, and we are current with all our AQAs. All 5 AQAs have been submitted, and we have started preparing for the SSR. So one query I have is that in the first criteria for curriculum designing, we don't have any say in that because we are under our parent university. So the way they have designed it, we have to go by it. So is that how that's how we put it, that as
Yes.
per university design?
That's right. That's right. You have to look into that. But
Yeah,
your course basket will be prepared by you itself, or university gives you the course basket.
Everything is given by the university. We just
But
have
there
to implement that.
there must be some reflection of syllabus change and all these things, programs and all.
That is there, but
But-
we don't have like specificity for location wise because it's
No
common
issue,
for
no
all
issue.
the colleges.
No issue.
So-
That's not an issue.
Okay.
That's not an issue.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
For you from Dr. Patrani Bush. Just one more question and we follow. Come here, Patrani. Please come to the stage. Or you can use this mic. This is the last question for you, sir.
No issue. No issue.
Morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
For your lecture. One question. In criteria 5, student progression criteria, you were speaking about that we should keep all of the students who are going for admission.
Pradipta, can you repeat the question because I am unable to hear her?
Sir, she is asking that for the student data we have to provide for criterion 5, I think, where we trace records of students who have gone for higher education.
Mhm.
What is the kind of documentation that is required? Like if we say that they have gone for post-graduation, MPA, or higher studies, PhD. So what kind of documentation is required?
Then PhD letter should be there. If they are gone for MSc admission, that MSc letter has to be there. proof has to be there that he has gone for such and such higher education.
Okay, so what we ask for students is we ask them for the certificates of enrollment registration.
Yeah. Study government of enrollment registration that they have gone for higher studies on such and such.
But once they leave the college, sir, it is very difficult for us to trace.
That's true. But what we have done, I'll tell you, in each department we have the record of previous students. So we have research scholars also. We have reputed research scholars and teachers that go and contact each and every year students, and then they contacted and they asked them to send the letters. So they have sent the letters also. So it is a little bit difficult task, no doubt. The normal student didn't respond, but yes, how much you can get it will be reflected in your this. After all, they have gone for a progression, of course. After BA graduation or level, they have gone for a progression, of course.
Thank you. So, sir, it means that if we are dealing in the AQAR or SSR, 25 students have enrolled for MSc or MA degrees in other universities, we need to keep their registration certificates ready.
Yes, that has to be there.
Okay, I get your point, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Do this. Okay, thank you very much, sir, and we hope to have you back again at VCFW.
Please.
Thank you, sir.
So I'm quitting. I have another lecture outside the campus. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Please.
Thank you, sir. Moving on, our next speaker for today is a resource person recommended by NAAC for this seminar, Dr. Shubhoshri Mukherjee. And to introduce her, I would like to invite Dr. Pradipta Mukherjee, our NAAC coordinator and convener of this conference, to speak.
As Shubhoshri Madam joined, she is our NAAC recommended resource person.
Yes, ma'am, I have joined.
Okay, ji. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to
Thank
Vidyasagar.
you. Thank you so much.
It has been very nice interacting with you over the phone, and you have always cooperated, rendered your wholehearted support for this conference. Vidyasagar College for Women remains indebted to you for your support and cooperation.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
With great pleasure, and it is my honor to introduce Professor Shubhoshri Mukherjee. She is a member of Maharashtra State Government Committee for Implementation of National Education Policy for Higher Education Teachers, Institutional Coordinator of IIQA International Network for Quality Assurance Agencies in Higher Education, Barcelona, Spain. She is member of Curriculum Designing Committee for International Postgraduate Diploma in Quality Assurance in Asia Pacific Quality Network, Shanghai, China. Certified Examiner for University of Cambridge, London. Member of PGTD BOS RTM Nagpur University. Nodal Officer for several central and state government schemes. Quality Consultant for several universities and colleges across India. She has delivered talks, chaired sessions in several national and international conferences. She's empaneled with English and Foreign Language University, Hyderabad, and other reputed universities in India. She's member of editorial board of several national and international peer-reviewed journals, and she has successfully completed UGC-sponsored minor research project, and she has several research publications in reputed national, international journals, books, and seminar proceedings. And she has guided several PhD scholars. Welcome, ma'am, once again to Vidyasagar College for Women. We are really honored and privileged to have you here as our esteemed resource person. Over to you, ma'am, for your talk.
Thank you, Pradipta. Good to hear you because you had a bad throat. Yeah. So, first of all, it's a matter of great honor and privilege for me because we people from Maharashtra belong to the western region of NAAC. And to be recommended for a college which is in the eastern side of the country, and that to be recommended by NAAC is in itself a great privilege for me. But on a lighter note, it becomes a little bit difficult for a person when his or her entire career statistics are displayed, like when Virat Kohli goes out to bat and his record is displayed. So it becomes very difficult for him. It is a matter of great pressure for him to perform. So I am identifying myself with such a situation, and I hope I'll be able to do some amount of justice to the faith that has been entrusted on me by the head of the Eastern region of NAAC. So I hope all are there virtually, because I could see some people who are there in the physical mode as well. So if anyone could just give me a confirmation whether my screen is visible or not, I would appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am, you are visible. Yeah.
Sure, thank you. My first and last qualification is that I am a teacher. And that is the reason why I'll tell you that I have chosen this topic. And moreover, I would also like to add that the teachers have a very important role to play in the entire scheme of things. And because I'm a teacher, I also love to have an interactive class. So I hope it's 12 noon, but you don't doze off. All of you remain alert. And if I ask any questions in between, or if I seek any answers in between, so I hope to get some response from your side. If you all can just unmute and answer. Can you cooperate with me in this regard? Can we have an interactive session? If I can just put across some questions and get some responses from your side. Is that all right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I would like all of you to unmute and answer at that point of time. And now you can keep your microphones in a silent mode. So some of you must be surprised to see the picture that I have used, which shows a game of chess. So why I have used this? This is something deliberate. And this would answer some of the questions which I already saw have been put across to the resource person in the previous session. I was there for near about half of the session. So I would like to put some examples across to you. But this entire thing, the entire process of NAAC is to be handled like a game of chess. So here, which teacher has to be used as which particular, whether pawn or you can say a knight or the king and the queen, how we are to use each and every teacher available in the college. That has to be decided by the administration, the management, the principal of the college, and we have to be very smart in doing that. And every move has to be very calculated like a game of chess. So I wish that the next 50 minutes or so might be fruitful to you in every way. And I would definitely like an honest feedback from your side. So to begin with, you should first understand the different segments that are there in your entire SSR that you call, divided into whatever I have prepared, I've prepared from constituent colleges' point of view, affiliated colleges' point of view, because that is what Vidyasagar College is all about. So 7 criteria, key indicators are 32. Key indicators are further divided into qualitative and quantitative metrics. The qualitative metrics has 21 questions, and the quantitative metrics has 34 questions. Overall, there is a huge change in this entire scheme of things, because earlier we used to have near about 93 questions for undergraduate colleges and 96 for PG colleges. Yours is a PG college, I understand. So you would have, if you would have gone for the process a few months earlier, this is applicable from 1st June 2022. So whichever college goes for the process 2022 onwards has to follow this. So today you have only 55 questions. 55 questions are there, including qualitative and quantitative. Now, these are the names of the 7 criteria. You must have already gone through all this and you know all this. So I won't delve deep into this. I will directly move on to the first criterion and the distribution of marks. All right. Now, one thing you will understand from my presentation is that I have just used very specific things so that a lot of matter always dilutes the purpose. If you can check, I have just 15 slides, 15. So, but you will take a lot, you will take home a lot out of this, these 15 slides, because they are very specific, very precise, and only concerning the teachers, because only the teachers are present here. So whatever is a matter of concern for them, you might feel by seeing some presentations which are very lengthy that, oh my God, such a lot has to be done. And NAAC itself, it's like an attack, you know, like it's painful, it's not welcoming for anyone. It's like either having a heart attack or a brain attack. So people get tensed, all the symptoms are similar. So here, this is the distribution of marks per key indicator that you can see. Now, next slide you will see there are certain points which I've highlighted in green. That means it is not a matter of much concern for you as teachers because it's already there. And only the points that are highlighted in yellow are something which you have to take care of. So again, I'll go to the previous slide. This is total of 100 marks weightage. Here you can see the total that you have to take care of is 60 marks. So usually what happens, the entire process brings a lot of stress and tension to the minds of the people. And what I would like to state here is that nothing of that sort is there. Don't strain yourself. Don't stress yourself. Sit back and relax. Just carefully listen, meticulously listen to what I have to say. So now the thing is that academic calendar, we are talking about affiliated colleges. We are talking about constituent colleges. So the one like yours, or for that matter, a lady, Dr. Arunima Biswas just spoke a few moments back. She had some queries. So I'll come back to what her query was in 1.2. Now the point is that academic calendar is something which is designed by the university and given to you. Similarly, you don't have the authority to form your own board of studies because you don't have academic autonomy. You are not an autonomous institution. So this is automatically taken care of. 20 marks either you get if you have people who are member of the board of studies. Academic calendar from the university you already have. So you get the entire 20 marks. You need not bother about that. So the points in yellow are the points which you need to take care of. Now the certificate courses. Now the point was related to academic flexibility. Dr. Arunima Biswas just raised a question that we are affiliated to the university, so we do not design the syllabus. That is what her question was. Dr. Arunima, are you there? If you can just unmute and answer.
Yes, ma'am. I'm there. I'm here.
All right.
I was actually going to ask about the certificate courses, but
Yes.
there wasn't much time. So thank you so much for addressing this. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. So just taking your point into consideration, you can design certificate courses at your level, at the departmental level. NAAC says that each certificate course has to be a minimum of 30 hours duration to be taken into consideration as a relevant certificate course for which you can claim marks. We are concerned about marks. If anyone promises you that I'll give you A grade or A plus or A double plus for that matter, you will just quit from the session immediately. This cannot be given by anyone because we have to work for it. So since we have to work for it, we should know each and every management, each and every principal will tell you how to score more. Nobody will say that, okay, a C is good, a D is even better. Nobody is going to tell you that. So every management, every teacher is going, every principal, every IQAC coordinator is going to tell you that you should score maximum marks. I'm here to tell you the teacher's role in scoring maximum marks. That's it. It's as simple as that. So 30 hours certificate course designed by you. I'm not sure about the curriculum which is used by the Kolkata University, whether it is at par with national and global standards. I'm not the right person to comment on that because I have not gone through the curriculum or the syllabus for that matter. So if you feel, usually in India, most of the colleges and universities always tell me that the syllabus is not at par with the global standards, with international standards. So that is where your role comes. You need to frame, you need to design a certificate course for your students, which will contain some not outdated topics, relevant topics, topics which will give them some skill enhancement, topics of certificate courses which will add to some areas wherein the actual syllabus may be weak. For example, I spoke to, you have BSc in your college. I spoke to some of the teachers of science colleges. They said that, for example, the electronics department has, say, for example, TV in their syllabus, like how a TV, a television box, how it is made. So in their syllabus, they have a black and white television, how the picture tube works and things like that. Today, we are dealing with smart TVs. We are dealing with LED TVs. We are now, even Google TV has come. So keeping in mind the current scenario, we have to design a certificate course which will give some skill enhancement, something which will make the students stand at par with the industry. And this is how the gap between the academia and the industry can be bridged. And once this gap is bridged, quality enhancement take place, students have the skill sets, they get the jobs, all the departments are taken care of. The National Education Policy talks about a student-centric approach. NAAC talks about a student-centric approach. UGC, all the apex bodies are talking about a student-centric approach. So this student-centric approach will be fulfilled. Many of your questions will be answered through one question. Your placement is taken care of. Your skill enhancement department is taken care of. Your students give a good positive feedback. Word of mouth is the best form of publicity. You get admissions in your college gets a good grade, everyone flourishes. So one thing can kill or nail several things at one go. So this is, I mean, I can talk on one point for an hour, but I won't do that because I have to cover all the points. I have 15 slides, as I said in the beginning. So this is what the certificate courses can do. Now, many people from the humanities, commerce, and arts-related colleges, they tell me that how can fieldwork and projects be? This is something which is for the people who teach in science colleges. I don't believe in that. A person from the sociology department of humanities, a BA course delivering college, can do a lot of survey and field work related to many issues like COVID. Impact of COVID is one thing. Impact of national education policy on education. Many such projects can be taken. We should encourage our students to take such projects. Now, in one college, I was told that only 50% of the students come to the classes. The turnout is very low. Agreed. Now, when NAAC is giving a calculation wherein the standard inputs are to be divided by the total number of students, that is where the colleges and universities lose marks. Why Eastern region people have recommended is that I give practical solutions, whatever is possible. I don't give theory in my lecture at all. This is a practical solution. There are 100 students in one class. At least 50 come to your class. So you give them 10 topics for a research project. As I said, 10 different topics you give them. And roll number 1 to 10, one topic, 11 to 20, another. So in this way, out of these 10, at least 5 come, they do the project. Because there is internal marks, the other 5 also fear. They also directly or indirectly be a part of the project. You get 100% data for this particular question that almost all the students have participated. You get the maximum score, that is 30. Your principal is happy, your management is happy, your college grows leaps and bounds, work is done. So these are the practical solutions that you have to follow. Now you can't say that each student should not be given one topic. That's not possible at all. Practically feasible things I will tell you. Now the feedback. Again, it is taken care of. How you teach, whether it is a good feedback or a bad feedback, a positive feedback or a negative feedback, the feedback is there. So once the feedback is there, things are taken care of. How is it? Whether there is an action taken report connected to the feedback. After the action taken report, is there any further report that whether the action, after the action taken, did anything positive happen? So all this entire ecosystem has to be built. On the basis of this ecosystem, you will get the required grades, the desired grades for that matter. I hope I'm clear. Any doubt in this, you can just note it down and you can ask, if you want to ask me, you can ask me now itself. Anyone?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes,
this is Orunima again.
Yes.
So, thank you so much for telling us about designing certificate courses. So, we can do this ourselves, but
Yes.
Do we then need to get an approval, formal approval from like some official body like UGC, or can we just issue the certificate from the college and that will be like accepted? That
Yes. See, there are two things here. I'm not very much aware of the process in Kolkata University, but in our university, we have a department in the university which is specifically there for the approval to such, giving approval to such certificate courses.
okay.
So there are some colleges who are taking approval from the university. It
Okay.
gives them a little bit more edge as compared to the other, but no one can cut your marks. If you are running a 30 hours program, you have the certificate, 3 signatures will be there, the HOD, the course coordinator and the principal.
Okay.
It will contain the college logo, the title and finish. NAAC is asking for that itself. They cannot cut your marks if you have a 30 hours certificate course which is run by your institute, not certified by the university. But I personally suggest that if you have such a thing in your university, better to get it certified from the university.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else with any question related to this criterion?
Ma'am,
Yes.
this is Dr. Shumanti Gupta from Rabindra Mahavidyalaya. In continuation with Dr. Arunuma's question, I just wanted to know that for NAAC, from NAAC point of view, probably it is okay if we have the requisites, what you said, while designing a course. But could you please shed a light that suppose with this course certificate, like for nowadays, students are always concerned about the sellability of a certificate. So can we tell the students that this type of certificate will be counted for their future? That is a point which students often want to know. With this type of certificate, when we entirely design it from only the college perspective, without probably any university affiliation or any higher authority. So in this certificate, will the student be allowed if they want to opt for any job in future?
Ma'am, that's a good question that you have raised. Again, here there are 2 points. First of all, the credibility of your institution, the social standing of your institution. Where does it stand? Is it such a reputed institute that people trust? The name itself speaks volumes. If it is that sort of an institute, finished, full stop, then your question is answered. But if you are not very sure whether your institute has created such a name for itself or not, the best thing is to go for university affiliation. If this process is not a part of your university, you can go and speak to the higher authorities. You can say that NAAC is demanding such a thing. Other universities are following it, and it's something which even we should go for. This you can do if there is such a thing. In some universities, there is a department called the lifelong learning. They run several certificate courses. So they give the approvals for these certificate courses as well. So please check and find out what your university is doing and accordingly do that. So the credibility of your institution matters. The relevance of the themes that you have taken. For example, you are designing a certificate course related to IT. And the languages which are common today are maybe Python, Linux. And you are designing a course on C++ and C++, and you are saying that this is, you are saying that the learning outcomes would be this, that, and you're charging something from the students. So if the student is aware, then he will say that this is a backdated course. You are just doing it to fill the NAAC question. You're just doing this for your own selfish purpose. So naturally, it will not be taken into account by any other organization or industry for that matter. So we as teachers, I think we are smart enough to manipulate things according to our own needs. So we should not do that at the cost of giving the student a certificate which is not of any use. So the moral responsibility of the teacher also comes into play.
Madam,
Yes, thank you, ma'am. I got your point. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Welcome.
Madam, this is Pradipta Mukherjee.
Yes.
I was having a question, so I thought of asking before you move on to the next slide.
Mhm.
Our college offers a 6-month certificate in French.
Mhm.
Our college has designed this 6-month certificate course. It has 30 contact hours. And
How many contact hours you said?
30 contact hours.
6 months course having 30 contact hours. So why do you stretch it so long?
No, ma'am, actually, as per the requirement of AQAR and SSR, minimum 20 hours or 30 hours work, whichever is mentioned, we have that. We have fulfilled that. 20 hours.
Okay. So don't drag it for 6 months then.
But we try to finish it off by 5 months, but because of the semester exams and all that, internal assessment, continuous assessment, we have to
See,
submit.
I'll tell you one thing. You come up with your question first.
The question is, ma'am, this is a certificate which the college is awarding to its candidates.
Mhm.
But then are we eligible for this 30 marks? Because we are offering this certificate course in French on a regular basis.
Pradipta, how many students enroll for that? That is important. Accordingly, you will get the marks. As I said, you must be knowing the formula. Number of students, suppose you have 1,000 students in your college and 100 students are actually taking benefit out of this course. So you will get marks 100 divided by 1,000 into 100. That is only how much?
But we have currently only 21 students who have enrolled for this course.
That is what I'm trying to say, that you will not get good marks in that. So that we will take this later, because I will be in touch with you. So if it is related to Vidyasagar College, I think I can take it later, because a lot many questions will be there which cannot be answered in a single session, as you have given me only 1 hour, and I have answers to all the questions. If we let me finish it with minimum questions, and if we still have time, I will take all the questions. You can keep my lecture for the entire day as well. I don't have any problem.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Please continue.
Yeah. So this is 350, the highest as far as the weightage is concerned. Again, the distribution I have shown. Now I'll come to the teacher's role. So again, you can see that near about there is a 50-50 ratio of green and yellow. Students admitted in the college and reservations, you follow the reservation policy of the government. You have to follow the reservation policy. The students get admitted to your college. On the basis of that, the first question is taken care of. Second question, again, your management appoints the number of teachers. So the student-teacher ratio, on the basis of which there are several questions, not one question. Several questions are there. So if your management goes for adequate number of teachers and if the student-teacher ratio is good enough, you get the full marks. Teachers don't have a say in that. You can't go and tell your management that, okay, now you appoint some more teachers. Even if you go and say, they may or they may not listen to what you are saying. So finally, I don't say that this is your something which is you have to take care of. Now, participative learning, 2.3, if you can just check the teaching learning process. So your learning has to be participative, interactive. Everybody has to be techno-savvy. You have to be well-versed with computers. You should have digital classes. That is, again, not your domain, something which your higher authorities will take care of. So participative learning, the kind of learning that we are doing, I am 100% sure that you are learning whatever you have learned from the first slide. You are comfortable with that. You are satisfied with that because I have involved you in this, and you are not simply going listening and sometimes your thoughts keep on wandering. Even we as lecturers, if we listen for hours together, we might mentally get switched off and go to some other world and start thinking about maybe some problem which is there in the family, some work which you didn't complete today in the morning. So your thoughts will also go. So it's better for participative learning. Now you know that though you are a handful, but then anytime the resource person can take anyone's name and then ask, okay, you had a question, you wanted to say something, what is your opinion in this regard? So you remain alert. So that the purpose of learning is solved. So you have to do this. This is not difficult at all. Now again, teacher profile and quality, everybody is very conscious of his or her quality, and everybody knows that for improving my career as an advancement scheme, for my promotion, I need to have these many research papers. People are very smart. So they handle that. So again, I have put that in green. New assessment methods. Now, what are the new assessment methods? You can use embedded assignments in this. Now, what are embedded assignments? Embedded assignments are such kind of assignments which are a part of the curriculum. You give those assignments to students. On the basis of how they do those assignments, you give them marks. This is one thing. You can go for OBT, that is an open book test. Now, people feel that open book test, what sense does it make? But very minute details are asked in OBT. So the child, he or she scans the entire book, and in the process, he learns something. So this is a new assessment method. You can take some peer teaching method. You can adopt peer teaching method, wherein you invite the child and ask him or her to present something based on the topic that you have taught. So there are different assessments. That is how you can assess the child. So this is also not difficult. See, I'm here to make life easy for you. I'm not here to make life more difficult for you. So that is why finally you will see towards the end of my session that I am reducing your stress, your tension, your pressure that is there in your mind by 50% almost. Now the drafting of COs and POs. Now I was invited to conduct 2 full sessions on this. So I cannot talk for 1.5 hours, 1.5 hours. For 2 days I spoke. It was an AICT sponsored all India level induction program for engineering colleges, and AICT is for whom. So I was invited for this national event wherein I spoke for 2 days, as I said. And seriously, if you want to organize such an event, you can invite me for, the course outcomes and the program outcomes. They have 90 marks. This is the highest metric for, the entire SSR. 45 marks each. 2 questions are only there in 2.6 in the new format. And that is why this question becomes very important. So now what here I usually tell teachers have to do it obviously, that they have to begin from the scratch. They have to first know how to draft learning outcomes. Then they have to know how to measure learning outcomes. They should know how to check whether there is attainment of learning outcomes or not. And all this has to be done by the teacher. And it has to be done step by step, 1, 2, 3. So starting from how to draft COs and Peos using Bloom's taxonomy, many teachers are not aware, even in universities. I happen to be the resource person for a week-long faculty development program in a very reputed central university in South India, that too. And people were not aware how to draft course outcomes and program outcomes. So anyways, so this requires a full session. Let me be very honest with you. So this is how the things are to be done. Drafting of outcomes, measuring and mapping of the outcomes, how the program outcomes are being mapped, and then attainment. All these three have to be checked very meticulously. Coming to the triple S, it's something which the teacher has to do. That is why I've put this in yellow. But actually, it is something which automatically the teacher does throughout his teaching career. The teacher, the children, the students give the feedback on the basis of what you have taught, what you have delivered, apart from the facilities that are available in the college. There are certain questions which are based on infrastructure and other facilities available in the college as well. So again, here I won't say entire 60, maybe 30 marks are in your hands. So again, this comes to 200, not 230 as such. So anything here specific where you want to know something, or should we move ahead?
Ma'am, could you shed a little bit of light? This is Dr. Shumanti Gupta about student, the process, how to initiate and student survey, because it's something that's very new for us. Student survey, satisfaction survey.
Student satisfaction survey carries 60 marks, which is something which is actually conducted by NAAC after you submit your SSR. They take a sample size which is either 10% or 100, whichever is lesser. They take that. So what they do, there is a questionnaire which they actually mail directly to the students. And when they mail it to the student is supposed to fill that. On the basis of that, what marks the student has given your institution, your teachers, your facilities, on the basis of that, you get the marks in this particular segment. So more details, how to go ahead with this smoothly, I can tell you maybe in another session or maybe over the phone if you can discuss. I'll share my number at the end of the presentation. So you can get in touch with me related to the intricacies and the minute details of SSS, how we could handle it in a positive way, that I can tell you. But basically, there is a framework of near about 25 questions, which is directly mailed to the student. The student's Aadhaar number, then mail ID is already shared to NAAC. Then randomly they select any 100 students and it is given to them. And they have to fill it and submit it within the stipulated time. So this is how it goes. Anything else?
All right, ma'am. Thank you.
Shall I move ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. So this is the third criterion based on research and partly collaboration and extension as well. So this is already there. Your role comes here. Please don't get tense to see only one part in green and 4 parts in yellow. Resource mobilization for research, whatever funds you get from any funding agency for that matter, and how you utilize that. Anyone who gets the fund usually utilizes it in the proper way. So that is taken care of automatically. Now the incubation center, the research methodology workshops, the IPR workshops, if you could just see, this is a part of 3.2 innovation ecosystem. So innovation, in that incubation will come. The research methodology workshops you can conduct. You can conduct workshops on IPR. Now, again, the question is, if a college is not having science, they are very worried that we cannot run an incubation and innovation center. Innovation and incubation center can be run by any college. People might be here who are from arts, humanities, and commerce departments. So a person from commerce may organize workshops on entrepreneurship. There can be sessions on how to, go ahead for your own startups. So these things are there, which can be a part of the activities of the Incubation and Innovation Center. So again, everyone doesn't need to bother about this. As a department, as a team, you can think about it. It's not the responsibility of the individual teacher. Publications and awards, it's your department, but you are wise enough to take care of it because your promotion is directly proportional to that. So you are good enough to take care of that. I won't focus on that. You are experts in your own domains. So I'm no one to tell you about how to go for better publications, quality publications, and all that. NGO, NCC, NSS, again, I'll just show you. It's a part of the extension activities. Now, this I'll club with point 3.5. I will show you what 3.5 is. It is collaboration. Now, 3 types of collaboration. How 3.4 is correlated to 3.5. Collaboration can be an academic collaboration with some reputed institute, some institute of national, international repute. You can have a collaboration with them. You can have an industrial collaboration. You can go for a social collaboration wherein NGO comes into play. So once you have a collaboration with social collaboration with NGO, you can have different activities. So I usually see NAAC people going and asking that, tell me what are the extension activities carried out by your NSS and NCC team apart from blood donation. Because that is the easiest, so we go for that. Okay, organize a blood donation camp, invite a blood bank. They come, they have their own beds, own equipments, they have their own nurses, doctors. We have a whole lot of donors who come automatically, and then it is taken care of. So NAAC says that apart from blood donation, what you have done, we can have disease detection camps. There are several NGOs working for it. The committee has to take care of it. If the NSS committee and the NCC committee, if right people are put in the right place, I feel that this is done very smoothly. Again, further suggestions, you can definitely ask me your questions on this, please, if there are any. Shall I move ahead?
Yes,
Okay, I'll directly move to the 5th criterion because 4th is something which teachers can't do anything in that. The role of infrastructure and learning resources, you can't improve the infrastructure. Whether it is physical infrastructure or digital infrastructure, you don't have a role in that. So we are only talking about the teacher's role. So you don't have a role in the 4th criterion for that matter. Just you have to compile the data, whatever is available, whether it is the digital infrastructure or the physical infrastructure. You can give your suggestions to the management, to the principal, but then it's up to them whether they want to follow it or not. So again, criterion 5, 4 points are there. Please don't be scared again to see all in yellow, and only this is not a mistake that has been committed. It's a deliberate thing. That means student support, only support has to be provided. I'm sorry. This is only the support that is to be provided because students are already there. So support in which sense you will provide? Support has to be provided in terms of what activities you organize in the college related to maybe curricular, co-curricular, or extracurricular. Now, when you divide your thoughts in these 3 domains, there are questions related to participation. There are questions related to awards. Just see the point 5.3. So this is student participation and activities. It has 50 marks. I put this in yellow. Why? Because you are the ones who will just motivate them to participate. Now this again has to be done very wisely by the teachers. Now what we tend to do, we know that there is a group which is very good at everything. And whether there is a debate competition or there is an elocution competition or there is an essay competition for that matter, we depute students out of that group and we send them. Here I am to tell you how to score more marks. So this you won't do, because even if a single student has participated in 10 colleges and won 10 first prizes, you will get only 1 mark for that student, because each student has to be counted only once. My words, please underline, bold, enlarge the font of what I am saying in oral form. You can use only one student once. Team events are to be counted as one. NAAC today, please remember friends, is more about smart work. It's not about hard work. So you have to be smart enough to select different students for different activities. Identify the students in between, in beginning itself. In the beginning, these for academics, these for co-curricular, co-scholastic activities, these for extracurricular activities. Don't encourage team participations much, because it's going to fetch you less marks. You train 10 students for one group dance. Here, that group wins the prize, you get 1 mark. One student, you spend the much lesser amount, that student also gets one. So we have to do it very wisely. We have to follow the process. Right, wrong, here we can't say anything. So here, this is how these are all interrelated to. So I'll talk in random about the first and second point I have already taken into consideration. Now, students' progression, I noted down, somebody spoke about students' progression and was very unsure about how to map the students' progression and what are the evidences that we are supposed to keep. I'm sorry, I couldn't note that person's name because there was a slight break in the audio. So I have just written students' progression and I have just circled that. Otherwise, I never keep a piece of paper. Because I think everything has to be there in the supercomputer that all of you possess. So I just noted this because I wanted to talk on this. So is the lady present here, please?
Yes, she was from our college.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Wonderful.
She's there.
All right. So I'll be addressing the entire institution then, because this might be an issue with you, how to map the students' progression and how to keep authentic records. So the point is, please mute yourself. The point is that someone has unmuted, please. Please mute yourself. Yes. So, still someone is unmuted. So, yes, students' progression, I'll suggest you, we are living in the world of technology. I'll suggest you to prepare a Google form. Prepare a Google form and put the relevant questions. Check the SOP. As far as my memory is supporting me, they ask evidences in the form of maybe iCards of the institution where they have taken admission. If we are talking about the child progressing from UG to PG in another institution, that is our main concern. If they are in our institution itself, then it's not a matter of concern. So UG to PG in another college is our matter of concern. Second matter of concern is PG to PhD in another college, or directly UG and out of our college. We find it very difficult to trace or map that student. So the question should be related. I can provide you with sample forms and all that. I mean, if you, there are many colleges and universities which opt for mentoring, and I have been mentoring several colleges and institutions throughout their process of NAAC. So right from the beginning, providing them with the formats, providing them with the suggestions. Apart from that, providing them with proper solutions. Practical solutions are important here. So that I do. So that is why if you consider that my suggestions are valuable enough to be followed, then I can definitely do some mentoring for your institution as well, and provide you with the necessary details, the forms and all that. So what I suggest is that prepare a Google form with the relevant questions, and you keep columns for uploading documents there. That documents are to be uploaded either in JPG or PDF format. And what the student does, now you will say that the student doesn't fill that form if we put the link. Now I have a trick for everything. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been here. So what you do when the child comes to take the leaving certificate, or when the child comes to take the mark sheet, some teachers say that they don't even come to take their TC, because their leaving certificate, because they don't want to follow higher education. Okay, no problem. They at least 99% children come to collect their mark sheets, whether they are passed or failed. So when they come to collect that, you make it a part of your process that it is mandatory to first fill this Google form. Now, when the child says that I am going to pursue higher education, but today I have not sought admission, you have to somehow tell the student that, okay, in which college are you willing to take admission? Write the name of that college. Don't make that document mandatory for submission at that time. Tell that you will not get your leaving certificate unless you give that. That much rapport you must have built with the students in these 3 years. So at least under that pressure, under that relationship, for any reason whatsoever, the child will come back and upload. If not all the students, at least 50% of the students will do that, and your data will become complete. So, and I would suggest, if you do not get the record of some students, like they said that, okay, I will give you the copy of my ID. We have WhatsApp groups and Telegram groups for all students, even for alumni. We give them job opportunities in those groups. So we give them skilling and training opportunities in those groups. So they know that we get something from the institution, so they don't hesitate to give something to the institution. So it's simple. The whole world is doing that. It's a give and take process which they follow. So what they do, since they are getting so much from the institute, they don't hesitate. They are not reluctant to give you either a copy of their admission slip, a pic of their I card. Anything is a relevant document. It's not that it has to be a registration certificate or something like that. Anything which proves that the student has taken admission somewhere. If he has progressed to employment, ID card of the company, if not the appointment letter. If the appointment letter is there, that's excellent. If you don't get anything from the student has been selected in the campus drive, take a screenshot of the mail that has come to you, even that is a proof. There are many things that can be attached. We can talk in detail about this as well later. I hope I have answered the query to some extent at least. Alumni engagement again. You need to have a registered alumni association. If you don't have, please get it registered. So if it is a registered alumni association, then it has much value. Only the presence of the alumni association is not enough. You have to have a functional alumni association wherein the alumni, they come to your college for some social activities, for some cultural activities. The alumni, sometimes if there are reputed alumni, they come for talks. You invite them as experts. If there are some alumni who are placed in the industry, they come to with some suggestions regarding internships. So they have some suggestions regarding placements as well. So alumni engagement, I have used the word. So that is very important. How they are still, why they will be eager to be a part of their organization. I feel that whatever I am, I'm because of my college and because of my school. So I really want to give back in a way. So definitely they will come if you provide that to them. Provide some light snacks, some cultural activities should be there. Let them come on the stage, let them perform. They may be in tune, they may be out of tune, but then make them be a part of your activities. Okay. Any questions related to this further? Okay. Are you there?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, there's a
Yeah.
question.
I have a question. Like there used to be a query about donation from alumni to, to contribute to college.
Yes.
So can you highlight on that? Because we have former students who are involved in different departments, but ours is a rural college, backward region. So we can't really ask our alumni that donate some money. Like they are maybe engaged in other forms, but not in terms of donating money. We are just happy that they have made something out of their lives out after they have passed out. We don't ask them for financial donation really, but then how can we address that part? Like as you said, these kind of activities, like they are performing or they are giving talks or sharing their experience, we can also document those and upload as alumni engagement.
Yeah. So there is a separate question, ma'am, on funds which are donated. So alumni engagement in the sense, the points that I covered in that, this is not a part of that. This is a separate thing which you raised. This is a separate point wherein how much they are contributing in terms of either cash or kind. Here both play an important role. So if the alumni donation is more than 5 lakh, you get 5 marks. If it is 4, you get 4 marks. If it is 3 lakh and below, so accordingly, proportionately, the marks also come down. Now the point is that there is one thing, as you said, that we have alumni. The alumnus is from, a particular alumnus is from a weak background. He or she has just made a name for himself and not very capable of donating. Agreed. In kind, you can take something if they are eager, maybe some old books which they had or something in kind. Maybe we had some students who donated an almirah for the library, a bookshelf or something, if they can, something which doesn't cost much, if you can ask them. Or else, if you have some who are well settled, if they can give either in cash and kind again. There are certain things which can be done in the financial aspect as well, but then this is not the right platform to talk about that, first of all. Secondly, I would say that there is an opt-out metrics for the affiliated colleges, wherein you can opt out of a few questions if you want. And there is a fixed percentage for that. There are certain fixed criteria for that as well. So under that opt-out metrics, if you feel that this is something which cannot be handled at all, you can, you should, I won't say you can, you should go for the opt-out metrics and specifically for a point which is not in your hands. So when you opt out of a matrix, your score is not calculated out of 1000. It is calculated out of those metrics that you have opted out, which is maximum 50, for example. So 950 will be the marks on which you will be weighed. So this will increase your score to a great extent, because if you don't opt out, you attempt all the questions. So your entire score is calculated out of 1000. So you may score less. I have seen institutes and universities being downgraded because of not going for this opt-out method. So be very careful related to that as well. Shall I move ahead? Do you permit me to do that?
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
This one question about students' progression. Here you mentioned 3 categories, like from UG to PG progression, from PG to probably PhD and research progression, and from UG to out of the college. For probably other competitive exams and so on and so forth.
One more thing I said, employment as well. UG to employment or PG to employment can also be there.
Okay. My point is that since my college is in a rural area, many students we see that after UG, they opt out for having their own entrepreneurship. So that can be counted for NAAC.
That has also been included in the new format. So you can include that. Running a family business can also be included, means either he or she is doing something. So that is progression. He was studying, now he's running the family business. That is also progression. You need to have sufficient evidences, that's all. Starting own business can also be there. Yes, definitely, the point that you said. Sufficient evidences should be there. A name and address of the registered shop or something, whatever. So according to the student, what he or she is doing, you are wise enough to determine the proof that you will collect for that.
Right. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Ma'am, there's a question that's come up from offline participants, whether B.Ed is considered for student progression.
Yes, this was actually a very subjective point which many colleges have actually raised, and NAAC has still kept it unanswered and subjective. So it depends on the team that will assess your DVV, because this has not been clearly defined anywhere that whether B.Ed will be considered as progression or not. If you ask me personally, I will say yes, because after all, though it is a graduation level degree, but then still because it is a kind of professional degree that the child is attaining or acquiring. So I think it can be included in students' progression. You do it from your side and let the DVV or the peer team reject. You don't reject it at your level. That is my personal suggestion.
Thank you.
Shall I proceed? So obviously we will skip the sixth criterion as well, because this I just repeated, because it's on policies, which is a part of what the administration of your college, the management of your college does, the governance related things, the principal management, they do that. So it's not something which is under your purview. So I will directly switch to the criterion 7. So these are the three qualitative as well as quantitative metrics. We don't have quantitative here, we only have qualitative. So the required inputs, again, only one is there which needs your care and attention. I have just put gender equity, but that is not the only thing. You can just go to see institutional values and social responsibilities. So I have put only one in this because I feel that the slide should not be overloaded with a lot of written stuff, so that dilutes the purpose. That is my perception. I have learned this in some training. So gender equity programs on universal brotherhood, promotion of universal values, everything comes under this. Because finally, institutional values and social responsibilities is something which you are going to work for. So some celebration of commemorative days can be there, like World No Tobacco Day, or maybe AIDS Awareness Day or something. So these days need to be celebrated, and actually talks can be organized, and students should be made aware of all these World Forest Day, World Environment Day, and so many days. You have a big list on the internet, so you can just go and refer to that. So programs have to be organized. This is not very difficult. Each individual teacher need not take a load of that. Concerned departments, people from the sociology department, or maybe the political science department, or maybe the history department can plan out some activities. It's not something which has to be done by each and every teacher, but then everyone should have a role to play. If you know that, if you know someone who delivers a lecture on socialism or universal values for that matter, so you can ask that person to come and deliver a talk in your college. So the best practices are taken care by the institution, by the IQAC, and the institutional contribution in terms of what the society benefits from you. the institutional distinctiveness that you call, that how your institution in particular is different, how it stands out from the rest of the institutions in and around your city or village for that matter. Why should people come to you, in short? Why should people come to your college? Why should they take it? How are you distinctive? How are you different from the rest? What are the special aspects? In short, in a word, what is the USP of your college? That has to be there. You have to definitely answer this in a descriptive manner. Institution is separate, different. Get institute. So part that overall one total things you have to take care of. So in the beginning that I said, I'm here to make your work easier. I'm here to make life simpler for you. You understand why I am saying this. Initially, you thought that initially we have 55 questions. Now you know that it's almost 50%. Only 25 questions are there, which you need to take care. And that too, all are not your sole responsibility. It's a departmental thing. Some inputs from committee members, some inputs from department members. Your role is, again, if you consider exactly, it is half of even 25% if you include other members. So I feel the institution, the college, the university for whom we are working, for whom our status in the society is, for whom, because of whom we have a respectable image in the society. You put just Professor Dr. Shubhashri Mukherjee in any board or something, it won't make any sense. The moment you add Professor Kamla Nehru Mahavidyalaya, Department of English, Professor Kamla Nehru Mahavidyalaya, that is the thing that gives some respect. That is the thing that gives me stature in the society. So for that stature, for that prestige, for that honor that I get in the society, I should do at least 10 to 15 questions, which is my responsibility. Marks to work for, you have to work for these many questions, and in your hands there is 530, near about 50% of the marks are in your hands. So not much of load, but no zero responsibility. Definitely you have a responsibility. Definitely you have a say in the scheme of things. Definitely there is something which you can do. Definitely you can create a difference for your institution. I think that's all from my side. If you have some more questions, I'll be happy. If it is within my capacity to answer those, I will definitely answer it. Otherwise, that's all from my side. Thanks for having me here, Pradipta and team, and all the authorities, the management, the principal of the college. Everyone has taken painstaking efforts day in and day out. I know what it is to organize even an online event like this. So thanks for having me here. Thanks for being so welcoming and patient and so interactive. That is how I like my sessions to be. If you feel that I may be of some help to you in future, you can contact me on this number anytime. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It was wonderful listening to you. It was very informative. We wished we had more time and you could speak for another couple of hours. We had so many questions, so many things to clarify. But given the time conference, I know it's not possible for you to keep on continuing. But we will definitely would like to invite you in near future, for several more such workshops and seminars related to preparation of AQAR, preparation for self-study, and mentoring, how to organize extension activities, mentoring, how to collaborate with NGOs for NCC, NSS. how to, write best practices, which you just mentioned for criterion 7. There are so many things that we still need to, streamline, and we need to chart our path before we actually dive into the self-study report. So we would definitely need your help for our college. And I would like to thank Dr. Shiv Mukherjee, who is professor from the Department of English, Kamla Nehru Mahavidyalaya, Nagpur, and she is our appointed resource person, a recommended resource person by NAAC. We have one or two questions from our offline participants in the auditorium. So the first question which has come up is from PHK College, which is a private college under the University of Calcutta, and their college is a minority Jain institution. So the government reservation policy is not applicable for them. So how can they address that in criterion 2? This is one question. So would you like to answer this one?
Yes. So the thing is that I'm aware of the process which is followed in the minority institutions. There are some institutions which are not bound to follow the reservation policies, but because they want to score more in the NAAC process, they themselves have framed their own policies for addressing this particular issue related to that. So related to the government policy, either they themselves follow the government policy, though they are not bound to follow that, or they frame their own policy depending upon the government policy, keeping an eye on the government policy, and maybe they reduce the numbers to some extent, but they do follow. And my personal advice to you, whoever is there in the offline crowd, I would like to suggest is that you frame your own policy, keeping an eye on the government policy, and otherwise you won't be able to score in this particular section. You frame this policy, you start implementing, though you keep the numbers less. Say, for example, if there is a 10% or 15% or 20% reservation in that, you can give maybe a 3% or a 5% reservation, but give that reservation because they will not check the percentage of the reservation. They will see how or whether you have implemented the reservation process or not, or you just want to keep yourself away. So this is something which also comes under the national education policy, that is inclusive education. So it comes under that you are including all, though these backward class or backward caste or these communities are not able to cope up with the challenges or to cope up with the other students, or they are not at par. So we are giving them minimum reservations. So by doing this, you follow the policy of the government as well as the apex bodies. You don't stand out of the rest of the crowd. And you also show that you are, a part of the system and not entirely different from others, and you get the marks as well. So this is my personal suggestion. Anything else, Vidipta? There was another question you said.
Thank you, ma'am, for answering this question. I am from THK College. So we make this policy, we get it drafted and get it like from the GB or management team, so that we can produce that.
Yes. You can put that in we call it as a CDC here, the College Development Cell. The CDC we call it here in Maharashtra. It is the College Development Cell, which actually comprises of the management, the principal, members from the teaching staff, non-teaching staff, students, all are a part of this. So it is the executive body, you can say, that runs the institution. So you can get it approved in the CDC meeting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, welcome.
Ma'am, there is one more question from my side. Since in criterion 7, you mentioned about best practices. And every year, each and every college, they have to write 2 best practices for it. Now, my question is, our college, every year we celebrate Vidyasagar bicentenary. We celebrate Vidyasagar anniversary centenary celebrations. So what I'm trying to ask is, we have inter-college drama, debate, dance, song competition. Our students from other colleges, they come in large numbers, they participate. And this has been highlighted as one best practice for AQAR, say 2019-20. Now, my question is, if we have highlighted this as one of our best practices in one of the AQARs for one academic year, can we repeat this as a best practice in the next AQAR or the subsequent AQARs, or do we have to invent fresh best practices for each and every for AQAR?
Yes. Though your voice broke in
That is my
between,
question.
but I think I got what you want to say. You want to say that whether you can stick to your old best practices or you need to come up with new best practices every year. That was your question, if I'm not wrong. Yes. So a best practice is something which is best because you have been carrying that out for a long time. You have been implementing that successfully from for a number of years. Besides the segments which are there in the best practice, that is what is the objective of the best practice, what is the actual practice, then what are the constraints that you find that come in your way, okay, what are the implications of that, what is the outcome of that. So there are different segments in this best practice part. So once you start working on it, then you also know that this particular best practice that you have, this only one thing you have to keep in mind, that it should include most of the teachers, the students, in fact, even if you can include the stakeholders in this. So that is the best practice which will have a positive impact on most of the people who are related to your institution. That is all the stakeholders, if you can. Or if not, at least the students and the teachers. So that is a best practice. You're calling it best because it is something which you think that is the best in your institution. So it is a best practice. That's it. So it should, in a way, benefit the students also. That is what, and the teachers. So that is how you can select the best practice. If there is something which has come up newly, which was not there, maybe a skill development exercise which was not there, but in the current scenario, along with that socio-cultural event that you are organizing, you feel that this skill enhancement activity that you have started is a new best practice, you can include that. But then again, as I said, it should be of a very comprehensive nature, which should benefit the teachers and the students, primarily the students, definitely, of each and every faculty which is there in the college, if it is a multi-faculty college. I hope I have answered your question, Vidipta.
Thank you.
Prodipta. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
Yes,
very
yes.
much. Questions from the audience, offline participants? Is there any more
How
questions?
many are there in offline mode, if you could tell me?
We have close to how many? 40 to 50 participants are sitting in the audience.
Oh, that's a good number. That's a good number.
Yes, close to 50 participants. So, Madam, as per new self-study report that NAAC has given in the website, 1st June 2022, all extension activities that they have mentioned from NCC and NSS, they are asking for collaboration with NGOs. Now, the thing is that in the last 4 or 5 years, we have not done any collaboration. Not that NCC and NSS have been inactive in our college. They have been active, but there has not been any kind of collaboration with NGOs. So how do we, fill in this gap now for?
I think this is a question which is exclusive to your college. So I think my answer should be kept off record.
Okay.
Yes, this is a national platform, so I can give you suggestions, but we'll slightly keep it off record because this is exclusive to your college. We can talk later about this.
Okay. Any more questions from the offline speakers? Madam, there is something in the new SSR, 1st June 2022, opting out matrix has been left out altogether. So how do we now manage? Like, we could have opted out whether our students go for GRE, GMAT, those matrix which were there, we could have opted out. But in the new SSR, they are not giving us the option.
Opt-out matrix is not there. Yes. So, yeah, we will definitely lose marks, because this was helping in improving the scores to a great extent, as I said during my talk as well. So, this is definitely going to hamper the score of the institution, because there are certain things which are beyond our control, because children who are from rural backgrounds, who are from socially or economically weaker sections of the society, they definitely don't go for these exams. But what happens if this is a part of quantitative metrics? But if we don't do well and we have a good explanation for that, or understandably so, the peer team members, they accept that, we should be able to show that there are certain things in the qualitative areas which we are doing for these students. And qualitatively, maybe we can show that this is something which they have done, though the points that you have mentioned in that particular segment is not met by these students, and which is not possible to be met by these students. They have performed well because of these efforts taken by us. And these are the sectors wherein they have done well, though they have not done well in these particular segments. That is what we can show. But we can just cover up or make up in the qualitative section. We cannot do anything with the quantitative section.
Thank you very much, madam.
Ma'am,
So,
I have another related question. So for ours is it UG college. So for us, we can only address like from UG to PG or UG to job, right? We can't address if someone has later progressed to PhD or right. So just from our college to direct progression, we can address. Right? Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
So I think Shubhasri madam has been very patiently, addressing and answering all our queries. I do not have enough words to thank Shubhasri madam for her time. She is very busy. We know she's very busy, but still, despite her busy schedule, she has given time and accepted our invitation to act as resource person for the 2-day national level conference organized by Vidyasagar College for Women in collaboration with NAAC. Heartfelt gratitude, madam, for being with us, for joining us, and for supporting this conference since the last 2 or 3 months. We have been preparing for this conference, and Shubhasri madam has been with me throughout. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for having me here once again. I'll take your leave. Thank you.
We now break for lunch and we assemble sharp by 1:65 at the auditorium for Professor Shamrat Bhattacharya's talk and Dr. Vardino's talk. They will be speaking from Scottish Church College. Our resource persons from Scottish Church College will be joining us online sharp at 1:55. I request you all to assemble at the auditorium after lunch by 1:55. Lunch is being served. Lunch is about to be served. I'm requesting you to wait here in the auditorium. Once lunch arrives, I will let you know in which room lunch will be served. Outside participants are hereby informed that lunch is being served in the ICT room opposite auditorium. Right opposite the auditorium, we have the ICT classroom where lunch will be served to our guests. But we request you to wait for another 5 to 10 minutes and lunch will be here shortly. Teachers of Vidyasagar College for Women are hereby requested to wait in room number FF2 for lunch. Outside participants are requested to wait in ICT classroom, which has a bit of air conditioning. We hope the air conditioning works. So ICT classroom, outside participants, we are requesting your presence for lunch in the ICT room opposite auditorium. And thank you to all our online participants. Wish you all were here this afternoon. We could have all met and interacted, but it was very nice to hear you all on the virtual platform. Thank you very much. We are back again on the virtual platform by 1:55. Presently working as the IQAC coordinator of Scottish Church College. Shamradda has been the Teachers Council Secretary prior to this assignment, and he has given several consultations on NAAC assessment to various institutions. He was a member of the academic and administrative audit team in Bethune College. Presently, Shamradda is keen on working towards service learning and implementation of whole person education in Scottish Church College. Welcome once again, Shamradda, IQAC Coordinator, Scottish Church College, Kolkata. I would now like to introduce Professor Barbie Roy. She is a senior member of the IQAC, and she is working in Scottish Church College presently as Associate Professor in the Department of Philosophy, and she has published papers in UGC recognized journals and delivered invited lectures, and is joint editor of Journal of Humanities and Social Sciences, a refereed journal published annually by Scottish Church College. Her research interest spans social epistemology, feminist philosophy, and others. Barbie Roy is also interested in innovative teaching learning initiatives and has worked with United Board of Christian Higher Education in Asia for the last 3 years. She has been selected to participate in UPCHEA-sponsored Harvard Book Higher Education Teaching course. Presently, Barbie Roy is working as Program Coordinator of UPCHEA-sponsored Service Learning Initiatives in her college. She has a number of parties to her subject, and Professor Barbie Roy from Scottish Church College, our esteemed resource persons for the post-lunch session of this 2-day national conference. Over to Shamradda and Barbie. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradipta. Am I audible?
Yes, Shamradda, you are audible.
Okay. So at the very beginning, I would like to thank the organizers, the principal of Vidyasagar College for Women, Pradipta, and other organizing committee for giving us this platform to speak, to share our experiences on the process of NAAC assessment. We have undergone the process, but ever since 1/6/2022, the manual of assessment has slightly changed. So today our presentation will be based on the changed manual. I will be speaking on criteria 1 and 4, and my colleague Dr. Barbie Roy, she will be speaking on criteria 2 and criteria 3. So without further delay, I would like to share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So possibly you all have come across all these things in the morning deliberations. I do not know. In the entire assessment process, the NAAC assesses universities, autonomous colleges, and affiliated or constituent colleges. Most of us here are affiliated or constituent colleges, and NAAC assesses these colleges on 2 different parameters. One is the quantifiable matrices, which is known as QNM or quantitative matrices, and the other are the descriptive or qualitative matrices. So whatever may be the assessment process, either we have to justify our answers in the form of descriptive answers, or we have to quantify those answers. We have to put forward certain data and substantiate those data with supporting documents. So this is a very important slide where I would like to highlight that there are certain compulsory exercises which we have to undergo while filling the SSR, or I should rather say before the process of initiating the NAAC assessment. These are very important. Firstly, the SSR manual has to be read very carefully. Each and every portion of the self-study report, self-study manual has to be read very carefully. What are the key indicators? What are the matrices present? What is the weightage of the different matrices which are there? All these things have to be read very carefully. And then along with that, you have to keep two other things by your side. One is the SOP, that is the Standard Operating Procedure document. Now, the Standard Operating Procedure, it tells you what are the things which at the time of giving your data, what will be considered and what will not be considered. So all these things are in detail given in the Standard Operating Procedure. Like, for example, if you want to upload something, then it should be within 50 MB. If you want to upload something which is more than 50 MB, then you have to put that data in your college website and you have to provide the link. Data should not, you cannot host the data Google Drive and it within your own domain, within your college domain, and you can provide the link if it is more than 50 MB. And third, what is important is the data template. The data template is nothing but these are Excel sheet. While you are providing the data, you have to follow those Excel sheet, and according to those Excel sheet, you have to provide your data. And it is very important to remember that you cannot modify this Excel sheet. The sanctity of the Excel sheet should be maintained. And at the end of the SSR, you will find that there are glossary, that is explanation to the different terms and terminologies which are used in SSR. Across this term called CIE, which is Continuous Internal Evaluation. So all these terminologies and their explanations are given at the end of the SSR. So you have to keep all these things ready prior to your process of beginning the assessment. One is the SSR. Along with the SSR, at the time of going through the matrices, you have to see the Standard Operating Procedure. What are the data templates which you need to follow? And if you are not understanding the terminologies, then you please follow terms which is given. Here, you see that 1.2, that is what is known as the key indicator. The indicator 1.2 is academic flexibility, and under that indicator 1.2.1, that is known as the metrics. What is the metrics? Metrics tells you what is required. What is required here? It is the number of add-on, certificate or value-added programs offered during last 5 years. So this is a quantitative metrics. How you know that this is a quantitative metrics? Because here you do not need to describe anything. Here what you need to do is to give some data. What is the data? That is, what are the different certificate or value-added programs that your institution has implemented over the past 5 years. So you have to give it over here. And in the next matrix, that is 1.2.2, the percentage of students who have enrolled in those add-on certificate programs that you have offered for the last 5 years. So this is how you have to provide your data. And then the percentage part which is shown over here, you do not have to do any percentage part. You do not have to do any calculation. This percentage part will be automatically done by the computer. It will be done by their software. What you need to do is to provide the data over here. And from the extended profile, they will pull in the data of the total number of students who are present in the last 5 years. So if in the last 5 years, say for instance, year 1, you have 2,000 students, year 2, 1,800, year 3, 1,700, like that. If for the 5 years you have these different types of different amount of students, then year wise, the amount of students from those particular year will be pulled in here and the number of students who have participated in the value-added or certificate course program will be fetched from the data which you provide over here, and the calculation will be automatically done. So this percentage calculation is something which you do not need to do. We often get confused that is this something we need to do, and we do this calculation. You do not need to do this calculation. What is your work? Your work is to provide the year, which year it is, which academic session it is, and what is the total number of students who are participating in this value-added program. So this is how an SSR looks like. And while filling this SSR, you, as I told you, you have to keep the SOP by the side of you. What is the SOP? See, 1.2.1, the SOP here clearly says that details of each program. You have to have a specified curriculum of that certificate course or add-on program. That certificate course or add-on program has to be of 30 hours duration. There should be an attendance sheet. There should be a sheet which should be signed by the students. And then finally, you have to do an assessment part, and certificate has to be given to the students. So you have to keep all these documents. So the SOP will tell you what are the documents that the DVV partner will require at the time of validating your data. What is a DVV? Who is a DVV partner? At the time when you are filling the SSR and you will be submitting the SSR, your SSR will go to one of the 6 DVV partners. So these are agencies who will take up your data, and they will go through your data, they will screen the data, and while screening the data, they will see whether you have provided the data in accordance with the SOP. If it is provided according to the SOP, then they will not bother you. But if it is not provided according to the SOP, then as per the SOP, they will ask some data, and then you have to provide that data. Just excuse me. Yeah. Okay. And here in the SOP document, you will find at the last column, they also tell you that what will not be considered. Avoid program which is conducted under regular university curriculum. So if the university conducts something, you cannot show it under an independent add-on or certificate program. And any course which is less than 30 hours duration, that cannot be considered over here. So SOP will give you a clear picture of what should be considered and what not should be considered. And then the data template below, it is nothing but Excel file. That is the template according to which you have to provide your data. So as I was telling you, while you sit with your data, you should have the SSR with on one hand. As per the SSR, your SOP should be there. You should understand how you should provide the data, what are the documents that are needed to be provided with the data, and the documents which need to be filled in along with the data template, that is also given. So you have to keep all these things into consideration. Now coming to the first criteria, which is the curricular aspect. The curricular aspect mainly focuses on how much your curriculum is in consonance to the emerging national and global trends, and they are relevant to the local needs. It also emphasizes on the academic flexibility, career orientation, multi-skill development, and feedback operations. And this curricular aspect is divided in 1.3 and 1.4. 1.1 is curricular planning and implementation. The total weightage is 20, and all the weightage is on the qualitative metrics. That means the entire thing you have to describe under 1.1. 1.2 is 30, and the entire 30 is quantitative metrics. That means you have to provide certain quantification data. 1.3 is curricular enrichment, which is again 30 weightage. It is divided into 10 qualitative metrics and 20 quantitative metrics. 10 qualitative metrics means the weightage 10 means you have to describe, and 20 quantitative means there you have to provide some data. And feedback system, that is entirely the quantitative metrics. Now coming to the first one, curricular planning and implementation. Now for us, we are affiliated colleges, undergraduate or postgraduate colleges. We do not really design our curriculum. But what we have, what is our role is the implementation of the curriculum in an effective way. So whether the institution ensures effective delivery of the curriculum in a well-planned and documented process, including academic calendar and conduct of continuous internal assessment or continuous internal evaluation. So here you have to write in a box within 500 words that yes, your college has got a well-defined academic calendar, which is in accordance with the University of Calcutta. You conduct a continuous assessment process that may be in the form of your class tests, that may be in the form of regular weekly tests, whatever you do in your college, in your institution, that you have to provide. You have an academic calendar, as I have told you. You have a proper curriculum planning. The master routine is there. The timetable is being provided to the students. So all these things which are required for planning of the curriculum, you have a proper well-defined lesson plan, lesson plan. Then you have course outcome, program outcome. Everything is there. So you have to describe all these things on that. And related with all these things, you can provide your data in the college website and give the link over here so that whenever they want to verify, they can click on the link and see that, yes, all those things are there in your college website. So that is curricular planning and implementation. The second part, the second key indicator is academic flexibility. This is again divided into two different important matrices. One is the number of add-on or certificate value-added program and the average percentage of students. This I have already told you at the time of showing that what is the number of add-on value-added or certificate programs you have implemented over the past 5 years, and the total number of students who have participated in this add-on value-added program. So this already I have discussed. The next one is curricular enrichment. What is curricular enrichment? How you have enriched your curriculum by integrating certain values within the curriculum. What are these values, or what are these important inclusions? They may be professional ethics, they may be gender-based programs, they may be human value-based program, they may be environment and sustainability-based program. This you have integrated into the curriculum. This may be done in the form of regular students' activities, regular wall magazines, or writing journals by the students, or organizing seminars, workshops. So all these are supporting things that you are doing in order to enrich your delivery of the curriculum. Because per se, you cannot modify the curriculum. We all have to follow the curriculum as specified by University of Calcutta. So we cannot change the curriculum. But we can enrich our curriculum by integrating all these things in the form of different lectures, in the form of guest lectures, invited lectures, students' debate, competitions, poster presentations. Whether you are doing all these things and enriching your curriculum, that is important. And then the next quantitative metrics is percentage of students undertaking project work, field work, internships, data for the last completed academic year. So here is the metrics. So you see what SOP tells you. SOP tells you that list of students undertaking field work, internship, program-wise for the last completed one academic year. During our time, we had to give the last 5 years data. But now they have simplified it. Only the last completed academic year's data you have to provide. Program name, the data template is being shown. What is the program name, program code, list of students who have undertaken project work, field work, or internships, and link to the relevant document. Here what is important is mere list of students cannot be considered without relevant supporting document. So you have to provide the supporting document. What is the supporting document? You have to take snaps or pictures of the field excursion notebooks or internship programs or other programs, experiential learning programs that the students have participated. If you have provided certificates, so all these documents, if you have report on these programs, if you have pictures of these field-based programs, you have to provide these data and put them in the college website and provide the link over here. So just giving the name of the student will not help. They want proof that you have actually done all these things. Here what you can do, like one program or one experiential learning field project which we all face in the college is the environmental studies program. So all the department, all the students of your college will be undertaking this environmental project program in their semester 2, as far as I remember. So in the semester 2, they have environmental studies program. So you can take that environmental studies program. So you will have the data of the entire college students who have taken part in this fieldwork project work. So that you have to give how many students have taken them. You have to take their copies. The copies, ask the students to make the copies in soft copy format. So if you have the soft copy format, so it is very easy to host in the college website, and you can give the link. And you give a certificate to the students, a certificate, department-wise certificate by the names of the students, the project work, what they have done, certified by the principal of the college. So department-wise, you have the certificate that students have completed the program, and the documents are there in the college website. So that you can do. Now coming to the last part, that is the feedback thing. Feedback is one of the very important parameters, but remember that the feedback which is here under this curricular aspect, the feedback is entirely on the curriculum. This feedback is not the general feedback. The general feedback is there in criteria 2, which is the student satisfaction survey, which Barbie will tell you. But here the feedback is on the feedback of curriculum only. And the stakeholders are students, teachers, employers, and alumni. Who are the employers? Employers are, if you have placement cell within your college, your students are getting placed in different institutions, then from those organizations or institutions, you can take the feedback. So those are your employers. A chatte feedback stakeholders are there. One is the student. You have to take feedback on curriculum. Teachers, you have to take feedback on curriculum. Employers, you have to take feedback on curriculum, and alumni, you have to take feedback on curriculum. Now, this feedback, you have to keep feedback forms ready. They will ask you random 5 feedback forms. What we did at the time of, before the DVV, while submitting the SSR, we gave certain feedback forms. So they did not ask any more feedback forms from us. But usually if you do not provide feedback form, then they will ask the different stakeholders at least 5 feedback forms they will be asking. There is 5 feedback forms from students, 5 from teachers, 5 from employers, and 5 from alumni. And feedback reports, it is expected that you have taken the feedback is analyzed, action taken report is done. What is action taken report? Since we do not do our own curriculum, then your action taken report will be whatever is the feedback, you record that feedback, take the main result of that feedback and communicate it with your affiliated university. Get a received copy of that feedback from your affiliated university. And whoever are the board of members, ask those board of members to discuss these feedback issues in the meeting of the university. Since we can take the feedback, but we cannot change the curriculum. So it is important that whatever feedback you take, you communicate the feedback to the university people. And you host the entire feedback with the analysis report and entire thing in your college website. So feedback has to be taken, there has to be analyzed, action taken report, everything has to be hosted in the college website or institutional website. So that is on the criteria 1. Now I'll quickly jump to criteria 4, after which I'll ask Barbie, and maybe question answer we will be taking together. So I'll come to criteria 4, which is infrastructure and learning resources. Now, infrastructure and learning resources mainly focuses on what are your physical facilities which is available, physical facilities pertaining to delivery of your education, physical facilities pertaining to delivery of extracurricular activities in the college, physical facilities pertaining to delivery of sports infrastructure in your college, gymnasium, everything. And then library as learning resources, IT infrastructure within your college, and ultimately whether there is a proper maintenance of these campus infrastructure in the educational, in your institution. So here, the first matrix, 4.1.1, is a qualitative matrix which says that whether your college has got adequate infrastructure for physical facilities like classrooms, laboratories, ICT facilities, cultural activities facilities, that means you have auditorium, you have halls, gymnasium, yoga center, whether all these things are there in the institution. And what you have to do is you have to take geotag pictures of all these and you have to host it in your college website. All the classrooms, mind it. We have taken geotag picture of all the classrooms. I still remember around 65 classrooms we had taken. All the classrooms geotag picture we took and we have hosted it in the college website. All the auditorium picture we have taken, we have posted in the college website. College playground, gymnasium, yoga center, everything we have taken geotag picture and we have posted in the college website. So that you have to do. You have to provide a link over here. And then the quantitative metric says that percentage of expenditure excluding salary for infrastructure augmentation during the last 5 years. I'll come to this because 4.1.2 and 4.4.1, I guess, they have the same the data template. So when I will come to that, I'll tell you about this percentage of expenditure part over here. But what is the SOP? SOP tells you that provide the consolidated fund allocation towards infrastructure augmentation facilities duly certified by your finance officer or chartered accountant. This is very important. Just you have allotted the money, but it is not substantiated by your chartered accountant or it is not reflected in your audited report will not help you. It is very important that these things should be reflected in your audited report. This metric is supposed to be looked at with the perspective of infrastructure augmentation only. In case of privately funded higher education institution, the document should be certified by chartered accountant. Focus of this metric is on to acquiring new infrastructure. Avoid recurring expenditure on laboratory, maintenance of infrastructure, and acquisition of books and journals under this metric. So this is the SOP. You have to go through the SOP, and when I will come to 4.4.1, I'll tell you what they have asked under this. Library and e-resources, whether your library is fully automated. What is the software you are using in the library? Whether it is Lipsys software or Koha software. What is the subscription in the library e-resources? Whether you have e-resource subscription in the library. Whether you have Enlist, whether you have subscribed for Enlist journals in the library. So all these things will come under the purview of this. Whether you have subscribed for e-journals for the library. So all these things comes under the purview of library management system. Next is IT infrastructure. IT infrastructure, the qualitative metrics tells you institution frequently updates its IT facilities and provides sufficient bandwidth for internet connection, right description. So here you have to say how your entire network in the institution is being maintained in each and every building, in each and every corner of your institution. If you say that your institution is fully Wi-Fi enabled campus, then what they will do at the time when the visiting team will come, they will simply go to one corner of the building and they will ask you, can you please give me your Wi-Fi password? I need it for opening my mobile. And then what we usually do, we run around. Password kya hai, what is the password and these things. So it should not be that. Everywhere at each corner, you should know what is the Wi-Fi password. And if your campus is fully enabled, you should know how this network is entirely in the campus. What is the bandwidth? And the document is whether it's a leased line. If it is a leased line, then you have to show the bill of that leased line document. From whom you have taken this line. So every document has to be very much ready. That your campus provides an adequate internet facility in each and every corner. And then quantitative metrics is student computer ratio. This one, another thing which we faced huge difficulty because during our time, they have asked for the computers in the college and they have asked for the bills of all the computers for the last 5 years. Either you provide the bill or you provide entry in the stock register in whatever form, whatever is given, whatever is the number of computers which you are demanding your college has. We have given some 200 and something, I still remember. Then you have to say, you have to provide the bills or the stock book entry register for each and every of those computers. But now they have made it easy. They have given here that only data for the last completed academic year. So they have made this SSR, in this SSR, they have made it relatively easier. Previously, it was more difficult. But now, only for the last 1 year, whatever computer-related purchase you have done, that you have to provide. And student is to computer ratio. The total number of students you will be given in your extended profile. So from there, they will be pulling the data. And the number of computers, whatever you give here, they will pull the data from here and they will do the ratio. Next is the maintenance of campus infrastructure. Yes, this one I was telling you. See here, the right-hand side, the data template, the 4.1.2 and 4.4.1, the same data template is here. Here it says that the percentage of expenditure excluding salary for infrastructure augmentation during the last 5 years in lakhs. So here 4.1.2 and 4.4.1 is same. Your budget allocation for the infrastructure augmentation, expenditure for infrastructure augmentation, expenditure on maintenance of academic facilities, on maintenance of physical facilities, and total expenditure. We also face difficulties in here. If you find difficulties, because usually what happens in many of the institutions, we may not be having our audited report in this format. So there is something called reconciliation. So you have to sit with your auditor, and you have what your finance officer or auditor will do. They will find out from the entire audit report which are the parts which has to be pulled out, which are pertaining to all these expenditures. And on the basis of that, they will give you a reconciliation statement. So that reconciliation statement is read with the main audited report. So that reconciliation statement will also be signed by the auditor and the principal. So you have to provide the audited report and the reconciliation statement. So maybe you have done the expenditure, but in the audited report it is reflected as in a holistic way, in a total way. So you have to pull out certain data from that. So you have to reconcile the data, and you have to say that yes, out of this 100 rupees which is being reflected in the audited report, the 90 is for this purpose and 10 is for infrastructure augmentation. So the auditor will justify that 10, and that reconciliation statement you have to send it to them. And this year-wise you have to give the number of the expenditure in lakhs that is being provided for the infrastructure augmentation and maintenance. And the SOP tells you that provide audited income and expenditure statement highlighting the items of expenditure incurred, which has to be certified by head of the institution and chartered accountant. It is very important that without auditors proper audited statement of account, they will not accept it. Focus of this metric is only on the maintenance of physical and academic support facilities. And mere statement for the last 5 years will not help, but you have to provide the audited report also. So if you just provide the mere statement, then it will not help. So this is the end of criteria 1, which was curricular aspect, and criteria 4, that is the infrastructure and learning resources. I will ask Barbie Roy to take over from here. She will be dealing with criteria 2 and 3. Criteria 2 is one of the most important criteria since it carries maximum weightage 350.
Yes. Okay, so thank you, Shamrata. So is my screen visible?
Yes, visible.
Okay. So I'll start with the criteria 2, that is teaching, learning, and evaluation. As Shamrata already mentioned, that it is the most important criteria among the 7 in NAAC. So how many of you are with me right now? Because post lunch, I think listening to NAAC is a bit boring. Are you with me, all of you? Okay, so let me continue. Now, this is criteria 2, which deals with teaching, learning, and evaluation. It is basically, it deals with the teaching, learning part and how you are evaluating your students. Let's move on to the key indicators in this criteria. Now, as I was saying,
that this criteria 2 is the most important criteria because it has the maximum weightage. It has 350 weightage, now which has QLM, which Shamradha already mentioned, that QLM, that is the qualitative part, which you have to provide explanation, descriptive explanation, which will be validated when the peer team will visit your college. But they will validate the 125 weightage, and the QNM, that is 225, is huge. And so you cannot get wrong with this criteria. If you want to score high in NAAC, you cannot go wrong with this criteria, you know. So 225 QNM, quantitative metrics, you have to upload. And when you upload in SSR, then you do not have any control over it. So you cannot go wrong with this criteria. So listen to this, the key indicators and what you have to do. So as you can see that there are 7 key indicators in criteria 2. Now, Shamradha has already mentioned that you have to read the SSR, the SOP, and the data template simultaneously. You just cannot read the SSR and prepare the data. You have to read all these 3 things simultaneously. But we are dealing with UG colleges now, and from 1st June 2022, the manual has been, the UG and PG manual has been merged, and it is easy now as compared to what we dealt during our NAAC. So it is much easier now. But remember, download the SOP and the data template. These are separate for UG and PG colleges. The data template and the SOP are separate for UG and PG colleges. Though the manual is the same thing, you have to download the same manual, but the data templates are different. So download the proper data template which is applicable for your institution. Go to NAAC website, go to Apply Online tab, and then you can see everything and download it. And keep on checking. Whichever institution is going for NAAC, just keep on checking the NAAC website at least once a week, because they keep on changing. During our NAAC period, it has changed maybe 3 times. Let us discuss the key indicators. The first one is student enrollment and profile. Now, I have written the weightage okay, so this one is 40, this one is 40, you can see. And this QLM, that is 125, teaching learning process, evaluation, process and reforms, these are the descriptive parts. Student performance and learning outcome, that is 90 weightage, which is almost equivalent to 1 criteria. Like criteria 1 is 100 weightage and 2.6 key indicator is 90 weightage. So you can see, you can understand that how NAAC is giving importance to outcome-based education. We'll come to it. And then there is student satisfaction survey, which has 60 weightage. Now, what is this 2.1? What is this student enrollment and profile? This is nothing but how many students has been admitted in your college for the last 5 years, how many sanction posts are there, how many actual students are from reserve category, etc., etc. So when you prepare a committee for criteria 2, you have to take some NPS from your college. So that is college office. They will help you out in with this regard. So you give the data template. You cannot change the data template. As for the data template requirement, put the data for the last 5 years in the data template and upload it. Done. 2.1 is done. Then we move on to 2.2. As Shamradha was saying that in the extended profile of your SSR, there are fields where you have to put data, how many teachers are there, how many full-time teachers, how many students, etc. You will put data in the extended profile of your SSR. Now that data will be fetched in in many parts of the SSR, you'll find, and it will be fetched automatically. So this is one such key indicator where the data will be fetched. You don't have to calculate it. They will fetch it automatically. So how many students are there, how many teachers are there, and the ratio will be done. Done. Criteria 2.2. Then there is teacher profile and quality. What is this? How many sanction posts are there in your institution? How many of your teachers are with NET, etc. year-wise during the last 5 years? See the data template. Take the data from your teachers. The thing is done. Okay, you have to edit. You have to edit a lot. It's not that easy, but it can be done easily. Okay, so this is the teacher profile part. And then there is the unfamiliar terrain, which I'll take some time to explain, which is student performance and learning outcome. This has 90 weightage. Okay. Now, it has 45 QLM and 45 QNM. Okay, QNM, that is the data part which you have to upload during SSR. Now, let us discuss this 45 QNM first. What is this? Now, how do you measure the attainment of your student or the performance of your student with the help of the result? Okay, so there is a data template. You have to put the last 5 years result of your institution of all your students. So 45 QNM is done. So the result, okay. Now we come to the 45 QLM. What is to be done? What is this learning outcome? Why is NAAC stressing on outcome-based education? Now with this, let us go back to a sign like Washington Accord. Washington Accord is an international agreement which is signed by initially 6 countries. Okay, 6 countries which award engineering degree programs. Now, they wanted to maintain quality among them so that the students from one country can move to other. So that Washington Accord is initially signed way back in 1989. Now, currently there are 28 signatories in this Washington Accord, and National Board of Accreditation, that is India's National Board of Accreditation has become a permanent signatory of this Washington Accord on 13th June 2014. Okay, so now India is a part of this global system. So this has paved way for outcome-based education in India. Now, what is outcome-based education? Outcome-based education was first initially propounded by William Spady. Spady. You can Google William Spady. You can find a book. There is a lot of books are there on outcome-based education, but you can consult Spady's book. And he was an American sociologist, psychologist, and he wanted to ensure quality in schools of America, and then it percolated in higher education. And what is this outcome-based education? Now, learning is defined as something in OB which like at the end of it, we are able to do something which we were not able to do earlier. So learning happens when we can do something. Okay, so outcomes are important. Outcomes are the result of learning. Now, outcomes are always measurable outcomes. At the end of the course, our students can do this. These are outcomes. Okay, so this outcome-based education has some advantages like this. It involves much clarity, it has flexibility, it has a more involvement of teachers and students both. So this is basically outcome-based education. Now, we all know that higher education system in India has undergone a change, like CBCS has been introduced. And we all know that learning outcome curriculum framework has also been introduced by NAAC. Learning outcome curriculum framework, LOCF. It is also being implemented by UGC, and NAAC is stressing on it. So this criteria has so much weightage. Okay. Now for this, all the institutions have to write program outcomes, program specific outcomes, course outcomes, etc., etc. Now, what is program outcome? Our institution offers programs BA, BSc, BCom, BEd, BBA. Now, these are the programs. What are program specific outcomes? BA, UG, philosophy, BSc, UG, zoology, BSc, PG, botany. Now, these are program-specific outcomes which are offered by our institution. All your institutions offer program outcomes, program-specific outcomes, etc. And then there are course outcomes. Like, for example, I teach philosophy. I have a paper on Indian philosophy. Okay, Indian philosophy, that is a course. Now, at the end of the course, my students will be able to do this. So, these are course outcomes. Now, all the institutions have to write the program outcomes, program-specific outcomes, and course outcomes. And it has to be circulated to your students. All teachers should know it. The website must post it, etc., etc. NAAC expects us to focus on outcomes. And there is one sentence in this 2.6, that is, attainment of POs and COs are to be evaluated. That is, mapping of POs and COs are to be done by the institution. Now, this is again another unfamiliar terrain. Now, let us see. Actually, attainment is a huge thing. You know, attainment of program outcome, course outcome, this is a huge subject. Now, some of us from our institution have done certain courses where we have learned how to do attainment. And in our institution, this is the framework which we followed. It is not necessary that your institution has to follow this. You can, you can enroll in many online courses where a procedure of attainment is taught. You can Google it, you can search in YouTube, and you can frame, your institution can frame, the IQAC committee, the IQAC core committee can do it. Now, what our college, our institution did is we have thought about attainment level, that is 80% of direct level. We have, it is actually the standard rule, 80% of direct level and 20% of indirect level. Now, how we are calculating the direct level? We conducted 2 internal tests. Okay. Now, there is a difference between summative and formative assessment. We are affiliated college. The summative assessment is not in our hands, it's controlled by the university. So we cannot do anything. But we can make our students do very many kinds of formative assessments. We can see, we can check whether whatever outcomes we have written, they're able to achieve them or not. So we can involve them in peer teaching or group projects, tutorials, as per our requirement, our course requirement. Okay. So in our college, we have done 2 internal tests, and then we have considered the CGPA, that is the final score at the end of the whole program. Okay. So this we have calculated, and the indirect attainment is feedback from the students and feedback from the parents. So we have considered all these, and then we have, now this is the matrix we have followed in our institution. You can see this is the example of philosophy honors students who have, like I have done it. So this is the direct level, peer teaching class assignment, research-based tutorial. This is the formative assessments, and then this is the CGPA. And all these markings are to be done out of 3. And then the total 80%, how much they have got in 80%, and how much after the feedback, how much they have got out of 3 in 20%. Now, this is the final score. You can see that I have decided that if they score more than 1.8, then it is, they have achieved what I have thought they will achieve. So 6 of them have not achieved as per my course requirement, or like philosophy honors course requirement. And this is the document which we have produced to our NAAC peer team, that this is the way we have done our this thing, the attainment of course and program outcomes. So you can follow this, you can frame your own attainment, you can do, but you have to do something. Okay. And then we move on to the last part, that is student satisfaction survey. Now, while you are uploading data in SSR, you have to upload the SSS part as well. It will go simultaneously, you know. So you have to collect data from your students. These are the things which you need to collect. That is their name, gender.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
Ma'am, excuse me.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry for interrupting, but just can you go back to the last sheet about the direct and indirect, what in your department you're using?
I think you are asking about this one.
No, the previous one. Okay, so 2 internal and the rest on feedback, and then external. So the external is like the university exam you're talking of, right?
Yes, the CGPA.
Okay.
Actually, you can do it SGPA as well. You know, at the end of the first semester, you can do it. At the end of the second semester, you can map your POCO. Then likewise, you can do. But we have like 2018, the CBCS has started. Okay, so we have first got the final semester students in 2018 and 20, right? So that is why we have considered only the CGPA. But if you finalize this model, you can continue it in all semesters, and then you can prepare a whole chart, like in semester 1, it is a 10, semester 2, it is a 10. Likewise, you can calculate and prepare the document, whether at the end of the course, whatever your, like you think your students will attend, whether they have attained or not. Is it okay now?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification. Thank you.
Okay. So, just for this, I must, you just prepare a Google form, okay? Name, gender, category, state, nationality, email, program name, etc. And then you you fetch the details from your students, edit it, the SSS data is ready. Now you upload it during SSR. They will send the DVV verification thing and the SSS will go simultaneously, okay? Now they have, all the students has to respond. Like there is a limit, like if you 50% of the students who they NAAC will send a mail, they have to respond. Otherwise, your SSS will be not invalid. Okay, so they will send 20 objective question and 1 subjective question, and there is the questionnaire in the NAAC website. You download it. You explain the questions to your students. Explain them in Bengali. Everything you do it, prepare them. Okay, not brainwash them, but prepare them that these are the questions which are going to come and you have to respond. Okay, so this is SSS part, and this is the tricks, like how you are going to prepare the document for criteria 2. This is the documentation. First is the vision, mission, objective of the institution should be clearly stated and should be displayed in your institution. And it should be aligned with the program outcome, program specific outcome, and course outcome. Like, for example, your course outcome is not aligned to your institution. For example, I teach in a college which is a minority institution. Okay, so everything should be aligned. So that you have to keep in mind. And prepare detailed lesson plan, prepare academic calendar. Though academic calendar is provided by the university for our case, as we are affiliated, but still you prepare an academic calendar, what you're going to do. Syllabus distribution, student-centric activities you have to highlight for each of the department. They'll visit your departments, they'll check what you have done in your departments, what are the activities, are those student-centric or not. And though the advanced learner, slow learner part has been removed, but okay, you can, and the mentoring part is also removed, but you can keep it as a best practice in your college if you have already done it. Then everything, whatever you are doing it in your institution, in your department, keep a report. Like if I ask Pradipta to send me a feedback report of this program, which I am attending right now, which they are conducting in their college, they have to take feedback from the participants. They can take feedback from us also, and they have to write a report. So every program has to be reported and highlight on the interdisciplinary activities. Okay, it is very important. Then excursions, zoology, botany, field trips, internship, BBA. Aware students to enroll in SWAYAM. SWAYAM, I think you all know, it is a MOOC course run by central government. So how many, like I am also enrolled in SWAYAM. My students are also enrolled in SWAYAM. Keep a record. How many teacher students are enrolled in SWAYAM year-wise? Okay. So take your feedback from teachers. Like take your feedback from the students teacher-wise. Then you can also take feedback from your colleagues. So everything should be documented. So I think we are over with criteria 2. It is a huge thing, but okay, all the best to all of you. And then we move on to criteria 3, that is research, innovation, and extension. Now, this is criteria 3. It is actually a misconception that criteria 3 only deals with the publication part. No. It is actually 110 weightage, and only a small part of it involves the publication. There are other things as well, and all the things has to be catered, you know. The QLM part, that is description part, is 30, and the uploading part is 80. Uploading, that is during SSR. Okay, so as you can see by the name, research, innovation, and extension. So you have to cater to all these three things simultaneously to score good in this criteria. Okay. Now, there are 5 key indicators. Resource mobilization for research, this is 10 weightage. Innovation ecosystem, 15. It has QLM 10 and QLM 5. QLM means description. Then research publication. See, publication and awards only 25 marks out of 110. Then there is extension activities, that is 40. And then there is collaboration, that is 20. So research criteria 3 means only publication. No, it involves only 25 weightage. The rest you have to cater. You have to think how you are going to do it. So let's move on to the first one, resource mobilization. How many grants have you received from government, non-government agencies for research projects, endowments, etc.? That as per data template, you have to upload. So this is the first one. Second, innovation ecosystem. How many innovation ecosystem means how many workshops, seminars, conferences have you done, have your institution done on research methodology, IQAR, etc. So on the basis of the total number, you are going to get marks. And what is this explanation? Like how you are developing the ecosystem in your institution. What policies have you adopted? Like do you give travel grant to your faculties to attend some seminars in maybe Chennai? Do you give them? If yes, your innovation ecosystem is good. So are you giving them fund for research? So these are the policies which you have to think, So that is innovation ecosystem part, and then there is research publication, which is 25. Okay. Now in this respect, I want to make a point that when you are doing the SSR, there are 3 kinds of year. 3 kinds of year. One is calendar year. Now this, when you are doing 3.3, that is when you are doing research publication and award, you will consider only the calendar year. For example, you are submitting your SSR in the month of May. Okay. So what will be the last 5 completed year? It will end in December, like May 2022. So it will end in December 2021. Okay. So you have to consider the calendar year. Now, with regard to criteria 4, where you are going to give the financial documents, there you have to think about the financial year, that is April to March. And the rest of the criteria, the year will be 1st June to 31st May. Be very clear about it. The year calculation of NAAC is 1st June to 31st May in all respect. But only in criteria 3, this part is calendar year. Now, what is the data requirement of research publication? Now, a number of research papers in journals, which is 10 weightage. UGC care list is a must. And number of books and chapters, that is 15. Okay. So this will make 25, and this is only about the publication part. And then there is extension activities like extension activity, how you are sensitizing your students, NSS, NCC, Red Cross, etc. All these programs, you have to explain how your institution is working and put the data in the data template. So this is the extension activity. And then there is collaboration, which is 20. Now, you can collaborate, like we have collaborated with a lot of colleges. Now, always remember that each collaboration, each year, you will get 1 mark. Okay, you will get only 1 mark for 1 year. So when you are collaborating with a college, collaborate only, sign the MOU only for 1 year. And then you renew it. Because next year, if you renew it, then it will be considered a new collaboration. So you will again get. But if you collaborate for 3 years, that will count it as 1 collaboration only. So you are not going to get marks for the 2nd and 3rd year. Okay, so keep in mind, and always complete like an activity with the collaborating college. 1 activity is enough with a collaborating college, but if you add the report of the activity and signature of both the head of the institution should be there. The SOP requires that. Okay, So this is the collaboration part, and then we move on to the documentation part, which is required for criteria 3. And now, as I said, that prepare some policy documents, sit with the IQAC core committee team, and how you are going to enrich or in your innovation or innovate your ecosystem in the institution. Think about it. Then prepare that, initiate the R&D cell of your college. And then for every care listed journal, the link to the website and link to the article is required. If it is print only, then you have to provide the screenshots of the first page, etc., the title page, etc., all these things. And if the links and UI number are not available, then the screenshot, okay? And regarding chapter in books, cover page, content page, first page. So when you are preparing the data, collect all these information from your teachers, because there will be lots of things, lots of journals and lots of books for last 5 years. So collect them. And I already said that under collaboration, at least one activity should be conducted and documented for one academic year. So criteria 4 is already done. So thank you. If you have any question specifically to our college, then you can send your queries in this mail. We will take it to it. Okay? Thank you so much. Prodipta, are you there? If anyone has any questions.
I'm there. Can you hear me, Dr. Harvey?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for this presentation. Thank you, Dr. Shamrat Bhattacharya, for a very informative presentation. Thank you, both of you, from Scottish Church College, IQAC team, representing IQAC team of Scottish Church College. We are very privileged and extremely glad to have you here as our resource persons. Vidyasagar College for Women remains thankful to you for your contribution to today's national conference in collaboration with NAAC. Now, if we have any questions, I will open up the house for questions. Do we have any questions for Shamratha and Dr. Harvey? So please feel free to ask your questions. I have one question for Shamratha before others start thinking about their questions. Shamratha, you mentioned about experiential learning. This is a term which we are hearing very new, we are getting to hear this for the last 7 or 8 months. It's very much in fashion, experiential learning. So how can we, introduce experiential learning for our students in our undergraduate college? This is one question for you. And Dr. Harvey, I would like to know that since there is a notice from NAAC that all publications in UGC care journals will only be considered for uploading in SSR or for getting weightage. We only need to consider publications which are in the UGC care list. What about journals which were there in the UGC care list but no longer features in the UGC care list? But whoever the contributor is had contributed that article knowing that it is in the UGC care list. It was published in the journal which was UGC care listed at that point of time, but now it has been withdrawn. Do we incorporate it?
Yeah, I got your point. Yes, I got your point. Actually, we have suffered for this as well, because in the previous SOP, it was mentioned that if your journal was enlisted in UGC care list, but now it is not there, you just write the serial number of the of your journal in the previous care list. Okay, it was there in the previous care list, so you have to mention it. But now they have mentioned that if it is not in the care list, you are not going to get points for that. So there's no scope,
You have to scrap that publication from SSR.
Yeah, you have to scrap it. We also did the same.
That's very unfair, but
yeah, it is unfair. So our publication numbers drastically was reduced because of this.
Yes.
And regarding this experiential learning, I can cite the example of history department. History department on a very regular basis, they visit the Indian Museum, I think Asiatic Society also. So see this, the department has to bring about these innovative ideas, so that the students outside their classroom learning, what are the different areas where they can explore, which will help them or assist them in developing their learning process. So our college history department on a regular basis, they visit the Indian Museum as well as Asiatic Society. Regarding zoology, botany, we have field visits. We have recently we have also collaborated with the zoological the forest department, zoological garden forest department, government of West Bengal. And we can go to, especially Calcutta Zoo, we can visit, we can go to Darjeeling Zoo. So we have a collaboration with zoo authorities of government of West Bengal also. So through these MOUs, through these collaborations, you can give your students more exposure so that they can gain their knowledge in a more befitting way outside their classroom. So that is actually the essence of experiential learning. Even in the classrooms of English department, I have seen that they have organized drama sessions, like they complete one of their portions novels, and then the students enact those plays. In some of those plays, I am also present. So when they are performing this on the stage, they since they are performing it, they give more emphasis and they become part of that learning process. So engaging the students to be part of that learning process, that is the sense of experiential learning.
Thank you. I'll get your point. And since the IQAC coordinator of Scottish Church College, Shomrita, is here with us on the virtual platform, I would like to know, Shomrita, how many AQARs we have to upload before we we upload the SSR. We are on the verge of submitting our 4th AQAR. We have done 3 AQARs. We are on the verge of submitting the 4th, but our 5th AQAR is already due 21-22 because we have crossed 30th June 2022. So 21-22 is also getting due. So how do we manage? Like, the moment we are finishing one AQAR and we are thinking of doing the next SSR, and doing the SSR, what is happening is another AQAR is getting due. So how do we fill in this gap? How do we keep pace?
See, the rule is that there should be 4 AQARs. Like whenever you are submitting the SSR, they will see that whether you have given 4 SSRs, 4 AQARs. So if your 4 AQARs are uploaded, then they will accept your SSR.
Okay.
We also had one gap of AQAR, like our year was 2021, the year of assessment, but I guess 18-19 was the last AQAR we gave, but because our previous 4 SSR AQARs were clear, they did not harass us on that. So yeah, that they maintain very strictly. If it crosses 31st May, like if you cross 31st May, so you have to submit your IIQA before 31st May. If you submit it after 31st May, then the previous year is considered to be your 5th year of SSR. That is the thing you have to keep it in mind. But then another thing you have to keep in mind is once you submit your IIQA, you are into the process. So until and unless the SSR is ready, you should not go for your IIQA. Because if the IIQA is accepted, you only have 1.5 months, 45 days to upload your SSR. So these are very critical points which you have to keep in mind. But more or less 4 AQARs, if you have uploaded, then I think you can safely go.
We have uploaded 3 years. We are on the verge of uploading the 4th AQAR, but after that we can start doing the SSR. But what I thought is we'll take at least 8 to 10 months to write that. By that time, another AQAR, another academic year will be due. So that is the confusion, like whether we can submit SSR without submitting the last final AQAR. I mean, once
we did not give the last final one. We had the previous one. They accepted it.
Okay, so we'll take that as a Q&A.
Yeah. They accepted it.
Any questions for Shomrita? Yes, we have Shubhi No, we have Shruti Shindari from THK Jain College. She is the IQAC coordinator of THK Jain College. She has a question.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
For your presentation, I have a question in criteria 1. So for the certificate course, the documents that we need to provide is attendance record, right? Signed by the
Not only attendance record. First, you need to have curriculum of that certificate course. There should be a well-defined curriculum, which should be minimum 30 hours or more than 30 hours. Then you should have attendance of the students.
signed by the students. That is something coming up, right? Per class.
Countersigned by the students. That in this SOP they have mentioned that.
Okay,
So
the students-
and then you have to take their examination, the final certificate, all those documents, because they will be asking for the
all
yes.
the
So give the certificate in soft copy. Then it is easy to maintain on your part. Don't give the certificate in hard copies. Whatever certificate is there, send the certificates to the students via email, so that you can have the certificate as soft copy with you. Because they may randomly ask, they will choose the names of random students and they may ask their certificates. So if you have, you have to keep all the certificates. So even if you give hard copy also, then you have to keep scanned copy of those certificates.
So if 200 students are doing same, you have to have all.
Yes, you have to keep. Because the more students you have, the more they will, they will think that it is not done, and they will randomly pick the names of students and they will ask their certificates. So you have to give them.
Okay. Attendance record per class signed by students. That is something new that they are saying, right?
You check the SOP. In SOP, I found that they have given that.
Yeah, that's what is coming up. Signature by the students in each class.
Because during my time, when we submitted, we did not submit any signed document by the student.
Okay.
We just submitted the attendance register signed by the teachers.
And by the teacher, okay. That's what we have, but not by the students.
Not by the students.
That is what they're saying now, signed by the students. Another thing I have question on the field projects. So the field projects, the report that they submit, that also we have to scan the whole thing, or I mean nowadays we're having soft copies, but earlier days they were hard copies. So
yes, you just need to submit the last completed academic years, not the 5 years. Only the last completed academic years. So possibly you have a soft copy of that because the last 2 years were pandemic years. So only the last completed academic year document you have to submit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much.
Any further questions for Dr. Shamrat Bhattacharya? If not, then we can call it a day.
Sir, one question. Is there any minimum number of students where we need to enroll for any new courses?
No, they haven't specified any minimum number of students, because I remember with value education, which was started by Varbi in our college. We started with Varbi, I guess, 30 students. No?
Yes, I initially started with the gender sensitization, and then
Yes.
value education. 20, 30 odd students were there, and they accepted it. There is no minimum number of students.
There's no number.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you, Dr. Shamrat Bhattacharya and Dr.
Thank you, and please take my apologies because of my ill health. I was really looking forward to personally attend, because I am a student of Vidyasagar College, Vidyasagar Day College. I've spent 5 years, 11, 12, as well as 3 years honors in zoology.
And for you, I also missed the opportunity of visiting the college.
Yeah, she also wanted to go. Anyway,
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please wait for 5 minutes. We have a final announcement to make. So we've come to the end of our second plenary session, and we're ending the day today. We'll come back tomorrow
Paper presentation will take place tomorrow in the second half, and tomorrow we shall begin the session at 10:30 in the morning. So kindly join us again. So kindly join us tomorrow in the same Google link at 10:30 a.m.
শেষ করে দিচ্ছি আমরা